3, 2, 1. Light that candle. All right, and they're off. Welcome to another ClevelandMoto Corona Cast. Check, make sure nobody's fucking drinking Corona. All right, you all look good.
Water.
Everybody's cool. Bagel, nice. Oh, Prohibition. Well done, sir. Yes, well done.
Got a PBR.
You had a PBR. Way to go. What are you on, Cam?
Just water.
Just water. You get a favor of that tooth. You've got the gold horn.
Yeah, little 8%er. It's nice. It's got a little kick
That's
to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kromke, you're always good for a bottle. What was your bottle?
Bunnahabhain, Casper.
Oh, really? Jeez.
Just finished my whiskey tasting Zoom call.
You're done. So you do your whiskey Zoom call before this one, right?
But it starts at 6 o'clock.
So you've got an hour and 40 of drinking right now.
It's called priming.
So Dan has a hell of a head start on all of us.
Same result.
We're expecting big things from you, Dan.
Dan, I found a 20-year-old bottle of Polish beer. Would you want it?
Whoa. A 20-year-old bottle of Polish beer?
Yeah, it was in our basement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's risky business right there, friend.
Yeah.
My advice is sell it online.
Yeah. I've got a case of a case of the new POC, the 1998 POC. Right when our shop was getting started, the Westlake Brewing Company did a whole run of the original blend or the original recipe.
Yeah, that's
good. Of Cleveland. You got Chris Smith. Look at that. Circle.
Oh, no. Look out.
Yeah. There we go.
Don't cough into the mic.
Yes.
All right.
So COVID the hell out of this thing.
So for anybody that's listening that doesn't know who Bagel is, Bagel, who are you?
I am Bagel from the Recycle Garage in Santa Cruz, California, and from the Motorcycles and Misfits Podcast, and many, many years of riding scooters throughout the United States and around the world.
Excellent.
A couple times.
Very cool.
And if anyone has any advice on moving to Germany or Portugal or what was your list of the questions you asked?
Or New Zealand.
New Zealand.
I'm considering backup plans right now.
There's a YouTube channel that's called like Ask That German Girl.
Oh yeah.
It's a really good YouTube channel of a young lady who's been living in the States. She's been living in Cincinnati actually for I think the past 2 or 3 years. And she's originally from München. So she answers all kinds of questions people have about Germany if they're considering going there or living there. And she's really fun to watch. She's really, really fun. But one of the guys was like, here's 10 reasons you should never live in Germany. And so she answered his video of the 10 reasons you should never live in Germany. And you thought she was just going to decimate him. But she was like, no, he's got a point on that one. And he's got a point on that one. And
he is German, so this is true.
She was like, yeah, he's got a point. But the funny thing was the taxes. And I know that when you live in Germany, it's hard to understand that there is still a poly tax. There's still a Eastern Canadian tax. So there's still a tax that you pay to support the wall that came down, like to support East Germans that you still pay to this day. And that was quite a while ago when that happened. So yeah, really interesting thing to listen to that. So that's one you might want to watch because I was looking at a lot of those and I was like, ooh, yeah, that's painful. It is. It's pretty tough. You get a lot for your money though.
True. And I have lived in Germany for 2.5 years, so I'm familiar with the country.
Yeah, you're familiar with the idea of the living there. The toughest thing is the education, which is the best value in the world. Like that's the one you really want to get. Like that's where you want to go there for. So is that sweet, sweet education. But that's
a year and a half. So
yeah, that's it. So it's super fun. But I was thinking about that when I was like, well, could I picture Bagel in New Zealand? That's the one that I think is the most exciting.
Very interesting.
Yep. Who is that?
Sleepy.
Is that Sleepy? Okay.
It's my fucking daughter, dude. She's upstairs trying to FaceTime people, not realizing that all Macintoshes, no matter what, are all connected. And
oh no.
Dude, let's jump in on her FaceTime. Let's make this shit real.
Yeah. Oh, make it weird.
Put an end to that real quick. Anybody tried this yet? Wait, I'm going to try to get it so you can read it.
Bold?
Yeah, Canada Dry Bold.
Oh.
It's for people who live in a part of America where you can't get Vernors.
Okay.
So if you live somewhere in America you can't get Vernors, but you want to make a good cocktail with ginger in it, Canada Dry Bold is a suitable substitute. It's workmanlike. It works. It's good. It brings out the drink in your drink. So, a little bit of rum and you're in business.
Excellent.
Or in this case, a whole lot of rum and you're in business. So it's fun. So anybody get any riding in today?
Not today.
There's only one of us that probably could have at this point.
Bagel. I think Bagel's the only one that could.
Hoffert.
I could have, but I didn't.
I rode from the one garage to the other garage.
Oh, you did?
That counts.
It counts?
Yeah. It's never stopped.
Half torn apart. So
it just never. Yeah, it just never quit snowing ever.
Yeah.
Well, this is fourth winter. If you remember,
Right.
it was third winter. This is fourth winter. It'll go to spring again for a day. Another winter. We might get one or two. I don't know. We might get one more, and then after that, it goes to a 97 degrees, 120% humidity summer.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
20% humidity. There you go.
Yeah. This one, we've been really busy. Like, we've been perfectly busy for the past week or two, having the weird weather we've had, couple 3 good days, couple 3 bad days. But today was just that one. We couldn't make the door. We couldn't get anybody to show up. That was it. There was no chance of having to shoo anybody away or whatever. But we had one guy come into the shop all day long, and he wanted to look at the SSR little 70cc kids bikes. That was all he wanted. Yeah.
Cool.
And I was like, this is great. Yeah, sure. Kids are going to love this. It's going to be awesome. And he's like, well, it's for me. And he was about 260 pounds. And
We're going to have to put more air in the tire.
Yeah, well, the SSR 70s are the same size as a PW50 or a Honda XR50. So they got the little tiny 8-inch wheels. And I was like, dude, the maximum weight capacity on those is like 85 pounds. So I'll sell it to you. I'll take your money, but you're going to break it now.
Put tennis balls in the tires.
Yeah,
I just saw that. That guy was like, how did y'all win the races without blowing a tire? He's like, I'll give you the secret.
And I love the fact that he gave you the formula. And he's like, okay, yeah, if you've got a 16-inch tire, you need 11 tennis balls.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Come on there.
Or one basketball.
So you run the tennis balls and no inner tube?
Right.
Yeah.
And
You
just
just put-
no air in it.
Yeah, you just put tennis balls where air in an inner tube should be.
Wow.
I'm wondering how that's even possible to get that bead back onto the rim, because if
That's
it's
what
gonna,
Maren just said. She's like, if you get the bead,
Yeah.
and if you obtain it, how do you keep it?
because really, if you're able to easily slip it on, it's gonna come off.
Oh yeah, no. The worst thing in the world ever is a tire that mounts easily.
Yeah, right.
You know? If your tire goes on, you're like, wow, that went on like nothing. Don't trust that tire.
It'll come off like
Because it'll
nothing.
come off like nothing.
Don't you
Yeah,
think?
exactly. Yeah,
I was on the understanding that he made it tubeless. So like he probably taped the nipples,
Mhm. Yeah.
and then pressurized
You
it.
say tape nipples?
Yeah, my nipples are taped right now.
Oh,
You don't tape your nipples? How do you run?
yeah, right.
Anything.
Yeah, there's
Okay. So he 3M taped his nipples, and he put a regular tubeless valve stem on it.
Right.
And so he did air over tennis balls.
right. And I think the thing that he said, like the reason that he was able to win all the races is because if other people get a flat, they're fucked.
Right.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
got the tennis balls at least.
Oh, so this is more of a run flat system, not an actual air inflation method.
Correct.
I'll go along with that.
And which race was this?
A pit bike.
Around his block.
Oh, okay.
No, he's like a pit bike superstar.
Yeah, he's a pit bike superstar. Yeah.
Nice.
He's one of those idiots. He's like a 160-pound guy jumping a 12-inch wheeled bike 60 feet.
Mhm.
So the store's been not slammed. Huh? You haven't had any looky-loos coming in trying to cough and lick the bikes or anything?
Yeah, we get that, but the fun thing though is like we've eliminated all the bullshit. So basically, what it's done is we've put a filter on our store, and the filter is set to spend. Like it's basically set to One of my friends, Bob at Minneapolis, said, "You browse online, you buy in person." So if you want to browse, that's great. We've got a website that we've spent 20 years building, so you can browse your tits off. But if you want to buy things, that's what you're here for. And it's pretty great because we sold a DSR today, and anybody who knows about zeros knows that that's not cheap.
Right.
And so that was good. We were happy to do that. And yesterday we delivered the DSR to the Metro Parks Police Department. So that was great. So we got to do that.
What office is that going into?
It's going to be out of the one right down. It's called the Fairview Park office, but it's the one that's right down there on Valley View Road.
At the bottom of the Worcester Road Hill there?
Right across from the big Met golf course.
Beautiful. That's cool.
And so I delivered that to those guys yesterday and trained them on the DSRP. And the two guys that we'd originally trained up to be the officers who were going to be riding that bike were 6 foot tall and 5'10" respectively. And they're not going to be riding the bike now. Officer, I'm going to get this right, Gun Ochoa, or I think, is going to be riding it. He's every bit of 4'14", and
that sounds about right.
watching him scamper up onto the back of the DSR is hilarious. He rides a Sportster on the regular, and he's got to do an ADV mount and dismount. So the only way he can get onto that bike is via the peg and the side stand. So that is his only option. Oh, looks like we're getting Mr. McElfresh.
It looks like you're shooting us with a laser, dude.
It is. I feel a sudden burst of. There you go. Just keep your head right there. Oh, fuck you. Okay, now you're good.
So yeah. Phil, is that DSRP available to the general public?
No, it's not. If you look, I just shot a YouTube video and threw it up on the Cleveland Moto page of me playing with it, and you'll see why. As soon as you watch the video, you'll know why it's not available to the general public. It's full-on lights and sirens and all the good shit, PA system. The rest of it, though, is a normal bike. The bike has no special features, unlike the military Zero that has a special switch on it. So the military Zero is called an MMX, and it's got a special switch with one of those safety lockouts on it where you can engage that. If the battery is at 0, you can flip that switch and get it to actual biblical 0, which is many, many more miles if you're being shot at. So it will damage the battery. Your lifespan of your battery might be done after that, but it will get your ass out of trouble. So, but all the Zero motorcycles, all electric motorcycles in the past 10 years, the bottom has really just been a engineered false bottom, so that you don't really get low enough in the lithium battery to fuck you over, to hurt the bike. So
all the drone companies did that many years ago. Like we were professional using whatever. But like when DJI and stuff came out, they added all the stupid filters. So like you'd be like, I got 20% of this fucking battery, and it would just land, and you can't do it because it's saving the batteries.
Now Bagel has the Fiat electric, the Fiat 500 electric. Yep. Now when I was with you, when that thing was down to like 1%, right? Yep. When you get to, 0%, does it just stop? Or?
Oh, no, it lets you keep going. And there was one time where I had to coast on 0 for a lot longer than I really wanted to make it to that charging station, but I made it.
Really?
Yeah. It does have a false bottom built in as well. I think it's actually a false bottom and a false top. So I think they've got about 5% on either side.
Really?
And that's done to lengthen the life of the battery because like you were saying, if you drain it all the way, that severely limits the lifespan because the physical connections start to break down when you really run it dry. So they've engineered that all in. It was a system designed by Bosch, and it's worked really, really well.
Fantastic. I know the other day when I brought the Zero SRF home, and I brought it in the driveway at 1%. I went out and drove it until it was 0%, and then I drove it some more. And the only reason I stopped driving it around the neighborhood was I just got freaking tired of driving the bike in circles around the neighborhood. And it was one of those jokes. It was like it kind of was an ever decreasing slowness. Mm-hmm. So when I got to 1%, the bike really didn't want to go over 45 miles an hour. But then when I got to 0%, the bike didn't want to go over 35 miles per hour. And I could continue to loop the block apparently a limitless number of times, and it would still hold 30 miles per hour, but it wouldn't go above that. Now, I never got it to go, obviously, never got it to go below 0, but I was able to go several miles on 0. So fucking, who knows what 0 actually is? I didn't have to push it.
It's a motorcycle you sell.
What's that?
It's a bad joke.
I like Phil. I like the picture that you posted of you delivering the. Well, you didn't post of you, but the people that received it. You know, the park. They're all going ape shit. They're closing the park down. They're saying keep your social distance. You're delivering the bike. The ranger and her, or whatever, whoever they were basically like tongue kissing over the bike. Like they were just hanging.
That's the chief of police. So that's the chief of the police. That's Chief Dolan. She's the chief of police of the Metro Parks, and that's Officer Gunn. First name Gunn. Great first name to be a cop, by the way. Gun Chow. So Gunn was there. He's the operator. She's the one that spearheaded this. And CEI, I believe, our power company, is the company that's paying for that. Our electrical illuminating company is the one who's paying for that bike.
Oh, okay.
So that bike is being provided as a grant from the power company.
So Johnny come lately, am I here or no?
You're here. Yeah.
Okay. Cheers.
Cold in there, Johnny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm out in the garage.
I see that.
I'm considering trying to work on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Is that a wise decision or no?
You have fun with that.
You have fun with that.
Put some head bearings in my FT500.
There you go.
Yeah, no problem.
Did you ever pick up the snowblowers?
That's Charlemagne up there to begin with.
And all the rest of the stuff that he's trading you for your Africa Twin?
Deal's off. Deal's off. We got snow. I'm giving up on a snowblower now.
His hands are too small.
The value of a snowblower compared to an Africa Twin, the value of a snowblower just went up.
Yeah. I thought your wife was going to put the kibosh on it. No.
No. That's not the weak link.
Okay.
That's a very strong link.
Did she get to ride on the back or drive it or what if that took place?
She can ride wherever she wants if she can get me an Africa Twin.
With the stroke of her hand, too, no less.
With a stroke of a hand. The magic wand. Ta-da! Magic Twin.
Bagel has no idea what we're talking about, which is great.
I believe
You don't want to know, man.
Probably don't.
Our Mexican friends call that McElfresh, right?
I have the laptop plugged into my stereo so I can hear better. You're not getting any feedback or anything, are you?
Oh,
it's pretty good.
No, the light behind you is super annoying, but
yeah,
that's a shop fucking light.
Yeah.
Okay. Try moving things.
Yeah, your camera looks like it's from the 80s.
There you go. That's better.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Yeah, he has my Fisher Price, my first, what do you call it? Like Zoom.
My first laptop.
Yeah,
maybe if I wipe it off a little bit.
What do you call those damn cameras? My first webcam. That's it.
So is this live?
Okay, Sleepy, first of all, the idea of Fisher Price having my first webcam.
Creepy as fuck.
Creepiest thing.
I know. Hey, Nick, I saw that you had a glue gun over there. What are you doing?
Oh, I was just cleaning up my workbench a little bit.
Oh, I thought you were actually doing something. I was like,
No.
Oh, geez.
I'm relegated to the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I wonder. I watch these shows with people that, like, you know, with the Asperger's or like ADD or something like that, or maybe they're specially challenged, and I wonder sometimes if I don't really fit right into this.
You do. If you don't think you're on the spectrum, you haven't found the right test yet.
Yeah. Speaking of my wife, she'd like to thank you for getting us involved in Zoom. She used it and had a happy hour with her girlfriends. That went over well. Got a couple texts from the ladies. They were hungover the next day, so good on them. They did a good job.
Nice. Merritt made the mistake of disclosing to one of her work associates that we were doing this on Zoom, And one of her work associates was like, "Oh yeah, well I'll check that out." No, don't fucking check this out. Yeah, that's not great. That can't be good. That's terrible. So
that's why I'm not drinking today, because I had a work happy hour on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I finished the other half of wine that I started the last podcast, and I finished the other half of tequila that I did on the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
done. Yeah.
For the week, done.
Yeah. Antisocial at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we're going video, maybe I should give some consideration to the type of content I'm putting out there for the world to see.
I work
probably not.
No.
Hey, I wanted to let you guys know, since we've been spending so much time at home, Mrs. Smith and I just finished Netflix.
You did. I sleep
Everything.
done. Yeah.
Excellent.
The good news is when we're done with the actual virus, the human virus, we're going to get taken over. Our computer's going to get taken over by the Zoom virus, because I have no idea where the fuck the whole internet found all this bandwidth, because memory and bandwidth used to be expensive.
Right.
And
Toledo. It came out of Toledo.
Bandwidth around like it's no big deal. You know, every fucking
Nick's cat's asshole is just front and center right now.
There was actually an article that 500 user accounts got hacked on Zoom, and that they got passwords. So if you use the same password for Zoom as your email, you'd want to change that, because that was a problem.
Yeah.
Would that person help me return all my emails?
Right. Oh shit! I got the COVID. COVID. Got the Rona.
Self-isolate.
Hey, I was at the bank today.
Oh.
I was waiting in a short line, and there was one young lady in front of me. She was an Asian lady, and she was trying to exchange yen for dollars. And there was obviously she was a little irritated. And she asked the teller, "Why it changed? Yesterday I got $200 yen. Today I get $180. Why it change?" So the teller just shrugged his shoulders and said, "Fluctuations." And the Asian lady says, "Well, fuck you white people too."
That would have only been better if you'd have worn the teeth from Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh yeah. Just to make
that's not even funny, man. Like, 20% of people, 20% of Asian people have cataracts. The other 13% have Lincolns. Rinkins.
Rinkins.
Rinkins, yeah.
Oh, geez. So I guess,
and then the podcast went downhill.
Yeah, exactly. That's nice that we could turn it really awful this early in. Well, we wanted to make sure it was really bad before Tom left.
What do you call a woman with one leg? Eileen. What do you call an Asian woman with one leg? Irene.
We need a third step to that joke. That joke desperately needs a that's a three-legged stool of a joke if ever I heard.
What do you call a Hispanic woman with no legs? Consuelo.
Mission accomplished. That's the third leg to that joke. Bagel nailed it. You built the perfect joke. That is the third leg that joke needs.
Yep. But the thing is, now Bagel has to report that to the California Board of Bad Jokes.
Oh my God!
Like,
Kevin Newsom right after this podcast to.
So how was the podcast with the flyover Midwesterners? They'd be like, well, they got into the racial humor about 10 minutes in.
We've all spent enough time with Liza to understand that she's no pillar of social correctness.
Oh no.
She's horrible to be around. But then the point is, like, she can be in the middle of the circle and shooting out in all directions. Yeah, so it's a different scene for sure. Yeah,
that's the way it should be. You should be able to laugh at yourself.
Ultraman intro behind you?
Yep. Say again, over.
As long as it's funny, that's all I'm saying. If it's funny,
that's a good standard. So who's going to sell their left testicle first to buy the new Honda Trail 125? Yeah,
Steve.
That's what I figured. Yeah, that's pretty solid.
But is it actually coming to America?
Well, why not? I mean, the powertrain, the motor family, homologation, that's all there. All they got to do is bolt the silly tall wheels on it and some different kind of a frame, and you got it. Did I hear that was being called like the Hunter or the Huntsman or the Jägermeister or whatever the fuck it is? It doesn't just have a name like Trail 125 or CT.
I think it's called the Hunter over in Japan.
The Hunter? Okay.
Deer Slayer.
Deer Slayer. No, that's parked in my garage.
Well, I am not going to buy an ADV 150. I've decided.
Really?
Yeah. Because after looking at it, it's I'm gonna wait for the 300 if it actually comes here.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because the Forza is way better than that other one, and the new Forza is excellent, but they just won't import it.
Yeah.
So speaking of ADV and 300 something, did you guys check out the thing I sent before, the KTM 3? What size is it?
390.
390.
So here, check this thing out. Let's look at this thing real quick. Hold on here. Yes, that's it.
While you're looking for that, it looks like Daniel Kromke has some good scotch.
Wow, that was very nice.
So there it is. That's this thing supposedly is the bee's knees, man. That met all the requirements, all the things that the guys want.
It's
I'm not
cool.
seeing
It looks like a
Still got that
400
390
cc
motor.
naked bike with a windshield on it.
Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does look, the headlight is very much like the TNT 302S. It's got that very same angular headlight that we like so much.
Is like, if you read the review, though, it's not small. Like, it's not, they just didn't slap some tires and a thing onto the Duke 390. Like, if you scroll down here, the Duke on it, and it's a pretty big bike. Like, where is it? It's
is the back a 17 and the front a 19? Is that what we got going on there?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a big dude. He said he's 200. Here, wait, where was it? He's 200.
Well, yeah, I can see he hasn't missed too many breakfasts.
No, it's basically any of us.
Right. He said he's 240 pounds in gear, so
Yeah.
he's officially our podcast listener size.
He's but a wee lad.
Yeah.
But it's not a small bike, though. And, like, they're saying that it hits all the marks. So, like, do you think that this is a trend? Are we going to start seeing a lot more, like, with the small stuff? Is that coming into play now, or?
Well, they got to do something. So the whole game is that everyone right now is playing Polish Minefinder. They're just dancing around and hoping they step on something good. There's nothing happening at this point that seems like it's predictable or repetitive. Repeatable. Everything, these guys are all everybody's trying a different approach. Harley Davidson's at this point going with the Pan America. They're doing the Bronx. They're doing these leader class, wildly different bikes, plus the Livewire. And then you've got KTM and BMW, which are doing a lot of the smaller displacement bikes. Right now, who the fuck knows, man? And right in the middle of the chaos and the turmoil, they put Corona, which was just like the best possible thing to just fuck with everybody. I saw a great story that said, like, what's going to happen to dealerships? And it basically said, nobody has any fucking idea, and we don't even know why we bothered publishing this shit. So we needed to fill, 1,200 words. So we don't have an idea. Do you? Yeah, nobody knows. Who knows who's going to buy anything brand new next year when people have had a 3-month hole shot in their income for the year, right?
Well, that's the
What's
thing.
going to happen to dealerships? The same thing that's been happening to dealerships for years. They're going to take it in the ass. They're going to struggle to survive.
Right.
They're going to have to be.
And only the true idiots are going to survive.
Well, and the other thing too, like, so your business model where you carry mostly like things that you get, like, so they're used bikes and affordable. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that opens up a lot. Like, if you're a dealership where you have to constantly push new bikes on people that don't need a new bike, that's going to fail, man. You're just not going to be able to do that.
So there's an article out right now that says, what if there's no hypothetical questions?
Dude, don't pick the mic up. You're killing us, Chris. Leave the mic.
I got to get in.
No, that bike is a Trail Cub.
Trail Cub, yeah.
Is it called a Trail Cub?
Trail Cub.
Okay, I like that.
Maybe I will buy one of those.
No, it shouldn't be this TC. It should be the CT.
Cub Trail.
Yeah. Keep it. But
Is that is that what CT stands for?
No.
What does CT stand for?
I have no idea.
But they already had a CT 125 that was like a standard motorcycle.
It was a motorcycle.
A huge rack on the back. I wish they would put the dual range transmission back on it, though.
That's not normally where I like to find the huge rack, but it'll do.
Yeah.
Steve, that was kind of the deal breaker for me. Not that I'd ever actually spend the money to buy a new bike, but yeah, no dual range transmission. Maybe that comes along in a later years or something like that, but that's really what I like the CT for, is you can have that 50% gear reduction and you can climb a tree with it.
The Hunter Cub. The Hunter Cub CT1. Well, they did retain the CT125. I'm totally okay with that. And I love the paint scheme because the paint scheme is exactly what it should be. Mm-hmm. So they nailed it. The green is not offensive at all. I like the military green. Yeah, I like everything about that. Yeah. I love that thing. I would replace the heat shield with something chrome to match the one that's on Oscar's bike.
It should be black, to be honest with you. You could probably paint that with like a heat retardant black and be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, or you could paint it with a learning disabled chrome and it'd be even better. I don't see a problem with that.
I was waiting for the joke.
And I recently picked up a CT 110.
Yeah.
For less than $1 a cc, actually.
That's perfect. That's the right way to do it. I mean, fuck, man.
Honestly, that looks more fun than the KTM.
Yeah,
it does.
Well, I mean, just for instance, so last week we put about 150 miles on all of our small bikes. I rode my Chinese Grom. What you had the K125 or his Kawasaki 125, and Oscar rode his Vespa. And Nick cheated and rode a 300cc something. And I mean,
it counts.
But the thing is that I honestly had more fun on that small bike ride than I would on a big bike ride. It was totally There's something about going slow, fast that is way more fun than going fast. Like it's just
I don't know if the Grim is like this on the open road, but the Z125, you kind of forget it's underneath you, and you just kind of feel like you're floating through space, and you're just doing whatever you want to do. Like it doesn't like.
Yeah, you're not scared of anything.
The Z-Rex is well over. I think it's like 560 pounds. So you're very aware that bike is underneath you at all times. Whereas with like the Z125, you just kind of forget it's there, and it just feels like you're like.
Yeah, and
hard to explain anything besides just you're floating along through space.
Right, and if you need to, you can jump. It almost feels like you could just jump off and walk away from the bike if you had to, because it's so small. Yeah. Although I have to admit, on a couple of the downhills when we were hitting about 65 or 70, like just full balls down the hill, those 12-inch wheels or however big they are, 12 or 10 or whatever, they didn't feel all that solid going that fast.
Dude, I was an 8-inch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know. Seriously, that would have been scary.
Well, that and my bike doesn't have a damper on the front. It's just a spring. it's like a fucking boat.
There is nothing sketchier than an Allstate at 60 miles an hour. Those are not even golf cart wheels. Those are tiny, 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 and they're all the dangerous things. They're split rim, and they have inner tubes in them. They're speed rated to 42 miles per hour. Yeah. and they're white walls, right? So it looks fucking cool when you crash. But like anybody who's ever ridden a Vespa, an old large frame Vespa with 8-inch wheels and the pogo stick front end, which meant it's all state, which means Sears doesn't want you to live past your first level. Because all the other ones had dampeners on them. Seriously, I'm not joking. All of the other fucking bikes that people paid real money for in Italy got a dampener. But it was only the shit that they exported to fucking Chicago that ended up having no fucking dampener because hillbillies, farmers don't care. And you get on one of these things and you ride it and you realize before you've even gotten into third gear, it's a really rotten idea. And yet I've been behind Oscar going 55 miles an hour on his.
Fucking just hitting it. Actually, the Speedo was tacked all the way to the top. It was just bouncing on the end of it.
Yeah, let's take a look. There they are. There's the motley crew.
Oh, the
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Nice.
That ride made
Good
me
lineup.
realize that I really, really need a fender eliminator for the back.
Yeah, it's already ordered. You're good.
It's been ordered, so thanks, Phil.
Mhm.
I'm debating doing the
It
exhaust
should
on
be here
mine.
tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it
Wow.
should be here tomorrow.
I might
Well,
run
that
up
came
there.
from Parts Unlimited, and Parts Unlimited shit out super fast.
Awesome.
So yeah, they're good. Even in this time of COVID. The weird thing is, if anybody knows of a company called Kimco scooter company, for the past 7 years, they've been notorious for the world's worst parts shipping. So like if you needed parts for your Kimco and you went to your dealer, it would always be like the third or fourth phone call. You'd be like, look, we ordered your parts. We didn't fuck you over. We ordered your parts. I assure you, they're just that slow. But now we're getting Kimco parts in like 4 days, 5 days. So that's what it took to get fast parts fulfillment from Kimco.
Wow.
30,000 people dying. Yeah. That's it.
What I'm bummed out about with that 125 is that it feels like the engine's breathing through a straw.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And that's,
I don't know what you can do. I mean, everybody, you read on all the forums, not that they know anything,
Right.
but it seems like it's designed.
Yeah.
It's designed to be that way just to get good fuel economy.
of course.
So-
There's nothing
you
you can do
can-
about it.
You can put more air into it. You can put more air out of it.
Mhm.
And it's not particularly difficult or expensive to do. But what is expensive is the fact that on the Groms and on the Z125s, you really need standalone. You need you either need like a power commander or you need a standalone computer. So I actually called Yoshimura today to see if there were people talking about installing the Yoshimura RS2 exhaust on the Z125s and getting like a purpley yellow color change on the header pipe. And I was trying to figure out if that was just that's what happens or if it's because it's getting too hot because it's running too lean without a tune with the exhaust. And the consensus is that I may indeed be able to just run the Yoshimura by itself before I put the computer on, because it's not a big deal to spend $520 to buy an exhaust for a bike. If you really like the bike, it's a big deal when to run that $520 exhaust, you need $750 worth of standalone computer and auto tuner and a wideband.
Yep.
I would just slap the exhaust on and call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spend all that money on an exhaust and have it discolor because it's too hot. But apparently, that's just what it does.
But I thought the whole point of EFI was like if you're changing elevations and stuff, it adjusts itself. So when you adjust the pipe, shouldn't the EFI learn what the hell's going on with the bike?
So it can adjust itself apparently up to 125%. And apparently, depending on who you ask, changing the full exhaust system, going to a race exhaust on the Z125, is either right at the upper limit of that or beyond the upper limit of that. So I think I'm just going to put the exhaust on when I hit 600 miles and finish the break-in. And then whenever I get around to it after that, putting the computer on and the A-Racer standalone, I think it's the A-Racer Mini 5 ECU, and the auto tuner. And then from there, I can add a cam and an intake if I want to.
Okay. Yeah.
I still
Because
think
if that bike didn't bog going uphill, if that bike had enough power that it wouldn't bog down going uphill, I don't mind dropping a gear.
Right.
But if I drop a gear and then I'm out of the power band and I bog,
Yeah.
if I'm at a point where that bike doesn't bog anymore, that would be my favorite motorcycle that I own.
Well, that was the thing last week that impressed me. I was beating Steve up the hill on my Chinese Grom that I broke in by going, oh, there's 2 miles on it. I will go full throttle the entire time for the rest of my natural.
Definitely noticed.
yeah, but I wasn't downshifting either, so
I wasn't either, dude. I just held the thing like that. I had one position on my throttle most of the time, and that was like
off and on. I think with you, Cam, that a power valve, I mean, it's 125, but still a power valve that would restrict the exhaust at low RPM and that would open up at higher RPM, because no matter what I've done with that Ruckus, I mean, I rejetted it. I repositioned the needle. I did all that other stuff with it. And with the let-out exhaust, it had a higher top speed, but the mid-range sucked. So, I mean, the low end, the mid-range sucked. So, it seems to me that it likes that restriction at low speed, but it wants it opened up at high speed.
Right.
So
I agree.
The cam that I was looking at, which I don't think is available anymore, but all the dyno graphs I found for the camshaft, Yoshimura doesn't make a camshaft for the Z125. But the cool thing is that 1 million people make Z125 camshafts because 1 million people make camshafts for the the KLX 110.
KLX 110. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a
They're
huge
interchangeable.
aftermarket for that bike. So you can find for my bike at least, I can find a camshaft that'll give me. I'm willing to sacrifice a little low end as long as I have mid range and top end. If I've got power over 4,000 RPM, I'm never below 4,000 RPM on that bike. That's fine by me. But I agree with you, Hoff, that I am not willing to give up 4,000 to 7,000 RPM to have to run it at top end all the time.
Right, and I like my Yoshimura exhaust and the Ruckus. I mean, there's only 50 cc's, but the still the Derby. I mean, that one Derby I rode with that 50 cc that it spun up to like 20,000 RPM or whatever.
Holy
That
crap.
was sweet.
Yeah.
That was that just shows you can get power out of a 50 cc motor, and they're just not producing power as much. I mean, I guess longevity and economy trump power. So at least
I mean, it's I feel like you have a little bit more versatility with the Grom engine than the Z125 does as far as what you can do without having to upgrade it. Or no, I think in your case the deal is that you can just get like a power commander and an auto tuner and you're good to go. Whereas on a Z125, the only real solution is to run a standalone system. Completely replace the computer.
I look at the dynos on all those things, no matter what they do, they're like, oh, we did all this, we spent like $500 on it. And the dynos show you like a half a horsepower. So I mean, you're gonna spend $500 for a half a horsepower and like 2 miles an hour.
It is easier to find 100 horsepower in a V8 than it is to find 1 horsepower in a 125.
Yeah, but that said, I mean, the dyno sheets I was looking at earlier with the A-Racer, this is on a Z125. This is A-Racer Mini 5, your Yoshimura RS2, and the fan-in-the-box intake. Was at the rear wheel was like a 1.2, 1.3 horsepower, which sounds laughable because that's
pretty fantastic.
That's amazing though. And I mean, that's like a real seat of the pants noticeable thing. And the guy even said, I don't bog down going up hills anymore. And that pretty much sells me. Now, if you put a cam on top of that, you can do big bore kits and stuff, but I think I'll be where I want to be with my bike with exhaust, intake, cam, and a standalone.
Or you could just buy a 300.
Or I could just buy a 300. They made a 300 with 12-inch wheels. I would be all over that. I think my buddy was telling me that there's people fitting the Rebel 300 engine into the Monkeys now.
So one of our podcast listeners, Big Ben. So Big Ben has chimed in on the occasion. He's the guy who gave us the link and the price for the ADV 150 for Steve. So this is what he's starting his weekend out with, and that is probably the worst thing in the world, Jim Beam Apple. But
the Crown Royal Apple was pretty good.
Oh yeah. Somebody just reversed my freaking chroma. That happened, and that's weird.
Blame the cats.
Yeah, I blame the cats.
There you go.
Yeah. So but the funny thing about this picture is if you look at this guy's hands, it looks like he's holding an airplane bottle.
Right?
Right. This dude might have gigantic hands. Because I think that's a fifth.
Man hands.
Yeah, I think that's a fifth. He said that something to start the weekend in unemployment with. He said, "Zoom me in, coach." So So there's that. We'll see if I send him if things get desperate, I'll shoot him a link and we'll get him in here. Is anybody on unemployment? Is anybody getting a check? Anyone?
My wife is. Peggy is.
All right. Tom,
she's also trying to find out. She's also trying to find out about the $600 extra from the federal government. Right. So she's getting like $450 a week, and then hoping to get another maybe $600
Yeah.
We did get our stimulus check because we filed our taxes early, so we got our tax return. And $2,900, $1,200 a piece for me and Peggy, and $500 for Piper.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who signed the check?
It was direct deposited, so we didn't get that check with Trump's name on it.
Yeah.
A little disappointed by that just because. Oh, I have something. I'll be right back. And this could be a possible prize for a Patreon listener.
Okay, right
I'll
on.
be back in a second.
Yeah, that would be like a really cool piece of memorabilia to have to show off to somebody.
So I have it right here. I don't know if you guys can read that.
I survived the toilet paper crisis of 2020. Yes.
I don't know. I still haven't found toilet paper yet.
So every
Tom-
week I go to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Tom, you were trying to do something with the unemployment benefit. Was that what you were mentioning?
Oh no, I was saying I'm luckily still employed. I've been working from home for 7.5 years, and nothing much has changed there. So I'm pretty thankful for that.
Good.
Business as usual for you.
Yep.
Cam, do you see what bike I'm working on?
Yeah, that's the one I was going to vote for.
Okay.
Glad I tuned in tonight. That's why I have the camera panned up to hide certain things.
That's a Honda
Hide
CB1
bulges.
Plus. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it would be really interesting to have the paper check just as a memento for the future. But
how can you buy an AR-15 with that money if you don't cash the check?
exactly, you've got to cash the check. Well, you do mobile deposit. That's the thing.
That's true. That's true.
So like all of like any time, like my first time I got published in a magazine, I still have the check from that because I mobile deposited it. You know, stuff like stuff I saved like that just because I thought it would be cool to have. Stuff I'm going to throw out in 30 years going, why did I keep this?
You're saying what?
Yeah, but I did have Beth take a picture of me holding a rifle because basically I went to the store and they had toilet paper and it was our brand of toilet paper and it was the regular price. So I bought it not realizing that I had plenty of toilet paper. So we have a whole pantry just filled with toilet paper and you could see it was like 4 rows deep, stacked 3 high, 4 across. We had plenty. So I got my rifle out and told Beth to take a picture and she's like, why? I'm like, because I can't wait to explain to our kids why this was like flexing on people. You know, if we ever have kids, I can't wait to bust out this picture and be like, at one point,
Don, is that a Browning?
What?
Is that a Browning high power rifle? Oh, Mauser. Okay. Well, we got defunded on Facebook. Thank you.
Hey, my cat's a Mauser too.
You're not allowed to show a gun on Facebook?
No,
you can't sell a gun on Facebook.
Not selling it.
It's deer rifle.
Yeah.
YouTube. So YouTube is kind of relaxed a little bit. YouTube allows educational stuff.
But go ahead, get whatever you want. Bring something up.
So like, what is
This
it?
is
Forgotten
educational.
Weapons. Forgotten Weapons. It's an auction company, and it goes through like the history of like these unique prototype guns and stuff. And I guess they're still making money off of YouTube because they're just showing off like they showed off this really interesting Eastern Airlines revolver.
Yeah, a pilot special.
Yeah, where the cylinder itself was injection molded.
Yeah, it's plastic. It's not meant to go through the fuselage.
Yeah, it was so cool. I see. There's a fellow Forgotten Weapons subscriber here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love Ian. I was trying to get when I was working at the museum. I was trying to get Ian to come visit the museum because, believe it or not, the museum I worked at has had a huge collection of machine guns donated to it back in the 70s, and they can't do anything with them. But some really, really rare, really interesting historical stuff. And I thought it would have been cool for him to get a chance to show some of that stuff off, but I didn't stick around long enough to really make any inroads there.
Oh, okay.
But
there we go.
Nice.
So did oh wow, very very nice.
There's your 1922 Swedish Mauser.
Nice, that's beautiful.
That's a beautiful firearm.
I really wanted to get.
It belongs to Mrs. Smith.
Oh.
Obviously.
I really want to get my hands on a Type 99 Arasaka with the anti-aircraft sights, because I really appreciate the optimism on display there. Because if I get the one that I want, it was built in Hiroshima at the Toyo Kogyo, later Mazda factory, where
it's Mazda gun.
Every Mazda I've ever owned was built. So having a gun built in the same place where every Mazda I've ever owned was built would be a cool thing for me.
That's really cool. Yeah.
They're really hard to find with the chrysanthemum intact, because basically to get the chrysanthemum stamp intact, you had to
bring
get
it up and take it back down
from somebody.
Right.
As opposed to being given to it by the government after the war, because they would file all the chrysanthemums off because they thought that was disrespectful to the emperor. So I have to find one that was built in Hiroshima with the intact chrysanthemum and the anti-aircraft sights. And people get like at gun shows and stuff, get really offended when you ask to see it and you look for the markings and you know what you're looking for. And I'm sorry, this isn't the one. And you think they, of all people, would understand, no, I want a very specific one.
Exactly. Right.
But you know what's weird?
Hey, Mac, what the hell are you doing over there?
He showed his plumber's crack.
He clearly is.
Well,
Yeah.
that was one thing, right?
That's the air filter from my CB1.
Right.
Taking out carbs.
Oh, are you going to clean the carbs?
He's just working. Did anybody have a chance? So Phil asked for topics, and I had sent a topic to everybody. Did anybody have a chance to look up? And what is your favorite bike under 500 cc's, and why?
I can answer that pretty quickly, and it's just about any Honda Twin.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But honestly, I've only ever owned one bike above 500 cc's, and that was a 74 CB750. But any Honda Twin I've ever owned or ridden has just been wonderful.
Yeah, that's pretty
Somebody
much.
had to ask about the CS3, and that would be my comment about the Yamaha CS3, is that why on earth would you get involved with, you know, a 1960, early 70s Yamaha two-stroke twin when you could buy a four-stroke? That's kind of the thing. I know.
Well,
Dan,
that's the thing is I want a two-stroke street bike.
I get it, but just tread lightly. I mean, they're a lot of fun, tons of fun. Like, I had the CS5, which Dan just bought.
Yeah.
And it was very light, and it had pretty good horsepower, and you could get like a power wheelie in first, second, and maybe third if you hit a little bump. And so it was awesome, but it was really hard to get it to run and run right. And problems with, as Phil will tell you, you know, well, now even 40, 50-year-old rubber seals and stuff like that, and those motors can just be a nightmare.
Yeah, so I mean, I have what am I thinking of here? I'm not going to lie about the fact that I want a garage queen, a pretty looking garage queen of a two-stroke bike that, you know, is ridden. That takes a lot more effort than it's worth for a bike that I ride 4 or 5 times a year.
Oh, then you picked the right one then.
You know, really, what I think I really want is I really want a Kawasaki S1. I really like that tail section, and I think that's as close as I'm ever going to be able to get to an H2 and be able to justify the cost. I can't justify the price of an H2.
Right. Yeah. And nor should anybody. Honestly, it's an extremely low return on your investment bike. I've been through a bunch of them, and for as much money as you spend on keeping them running and keeping them going, it has all the power of a mid-90s Katana and none of the handling. So, you know, you only ride it so that other people who know what you're doing can appreciate you. And realistically, that's a bad reason to own a motorcycle. If you're riding a motorcycle for every fucking body else, it's the worst reason to own a motorcycle.
But they buy you ice cream at the stand, though.
Yeah, it handles for shit. It stops for shit.
The mic up. Stop picking the mic up. Just leave it there. You.
Me.
Yeah. No. Chris.
Okay.
I can't see him.
You can hear him as he's smashing through all the volume of everything.
I had a chance. You know, I really like the way the two-stroke triples sound, the big Kawasaki triples. But I heard the S1. I heard a couple of videos of an S1 the other day, and I really like they have a very unique induction sound and a very unique exhaust sound.
Right.
And I kind of like them. And I feel like, I mean, in your experience, Phil, what are those bikes going for nowadays?
So you can do pretty good with an S bike. There's really nothing bad about that. Oh, there you go. That's for all of our Misfits listeners. Since I'm on camera right now, you have one guess to identify that Misfit. One guess. That's it. And if you submit the guess to the Cleveland Moto Podcast to guess the misfit, we'll give you some sort of an announcement on our podcast for you. And in fact, we'll read off anything you want us to say if you can identify that on our Patreon. So if you identify the misfit, we'll read off your quote on our podcast. Have at it. There you
go. So Phil, I remember you having a very beautiful, around the time we met, a very beautiful.
We had an S3.
And I think it was a maroon color.
Yeah, we had an S3 that was pretty much factory stock that we picked up out in California on one of my trips, bike buying and selling.
I remember that bike.
You might have been around with that one, right?
Yep,
if you want people to eye fuck you, ride a Kawasaki 2-stroke triple down the West Shore Boulevard in Santa Cruz, right? Because that's all surfers and tree huggers, and that bike makes the smoke that you see behind me at an idle. Yeah. So, but
especially with the dead number 2.
Yeah, and the number 2 didn't wake up until it got to like 1800 degrees Frankenstein. So they're really that was the bike that I had at the Dirtbags, and at Dirtbags, the one that Paul Brown runs, the Dirtbag Challenge. I just had a great time. Was like every 30 minutes I would just go over and I would start that bike. And then we had these very weird little 1/8 of a mile impromptu drag races going. And every once in a while, 30 minutes or so, I'd start the bike. I'd make horrible noises, get it up to a point where it was running 3 spark plugs on 3 pipes. And then I'd make an 1/8 mile run as loud and feverishly as I could. And it didn't matter if you beat anybody or whatever. You were just there for the smoke and the smell and the fury and the tires and the stench. And then you'd bring it back and everybody'd tell you how fucking cool you were. But like that was like, what do you think? Maybe 400 people there, Tom?
Yeah, probably about that.
Yeah, about 400 people. And for those 400 people, I could count on like 200 blowjobs. And probably 180 of them are really good. But out in the general public,
don't look down.
Yeah, out in the general public, it gets you fucking nothing except for like a stink eye. For like, what are you doing to my Mother Earth, you fucker? You know, but at the Dirtbag Challenge, all bets are off. Smoke your tires if you got them, you know?
So, Phil, you've owned shops for 20-plus years. You've ridden and owned and sold probably billions of bikes. So what is the Phil Waters top bike, 500 cc's or under, that you could –
Man, that is a bitch, man. That is an absolute bitch of a question, because I know it sounds fucking weird, but like I hate to be this guy, but – realistically, yeah, the Trail 110 is pretty mind-bogglingly good for everything, and you can have a lot of fun with the Trail 110 pretty much anywhere, but it's not going to get you down the freeway. So since you're saying under 500 cc's, you probably want something to get you down a freeway. I do like the Honda CB400F Super Sport. I think that might be one of the absolute best bikes in the world. I think that the Honda Super Hawk is one of the legendary great bikes of the world. I also like my Vespa GS Mark II. So, you know.
You had to pick one. It's the end of the world, which it is. So you're picking the one at the end of the world. You're taking with you.
Fuck, man. I don't know. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. I'm going to come up with this.
All right, you think Tom, our guest, Tom Bagel.
Wow. You know, I was thinking about this, and it's funny. The bike that I was thinking, I was already brought up, the Kawasaki S3 400, because when I was a very young rider, the Honda dealership near where I was living at the time had an auction one day, and I figured I'd go check it out, see what they had. You know, I rode my scooter over there and parked it, and just checking out all the bikes and things, and I saw It was a 73, I believe it was 73, S3 400, painted in orange with these black expansion pipes out the back. And this thing looked badass. And I mean, a beautiful bike. I was looking it all over. It had like a starting bid of $400. Granted, this was 25 years ago or so. And I was drooling over it. I was like, this thing is really cool. And that was before they started it up. The guy came by, started the bike up, and it just made this racket. And I was just like, oh, I like this. And unfortunately, I was a starving college student at the time, so that prevented me from laying down $400 to get that bike. But I really regretted that I couldn't do it because I thought that thing was just the coolest. And I was really tempted to buy that S3 that you picked up out here in California.
That was a beautiful bike.
At the time either.
It's a beautiful bike.
Yeah, it's pretty fair to say that was probably one of the nicest S3s I've ever seen, and it did go to the right owner because the right owner, if you'll remember when I bought that bike, it came with boxes full of the original shit. So like it had the original headlight, it had the original turn signals, all that stuff was all there. And the good news is the guy that bought it from me said, I'll pay you extra couple of $100. I want you to put it all back to stock. And so we did. We put the whole bike back to stock for him. Nice. And so it was good. It was a good. Awesome. It was a good bike. Yeah. And just like all of them, eventually it would light up and it would run on all 3 cylinders, but you had to wait for that to happen.
Did anybody spot me a can of start, you fucker?
Yeah. Can of start, you bastard? Yeah.
So I'd say, like, for me, my favorite bikes under 500 cc's right now are probably the 125s, like the Grom and the Z125 and the Monkey, because it's getting so many non-motorcycle people wanting to ride. It's like it's the best gateway drug probably out there right now. I mean, it's a lot for us. It's like, oh wow, that's $3,200 is a lot of money for not a lot of bike, but for a car person or a non-motorcycle person, they're like, wow, $3,200 is hardly anything for a brand new vehicle. And I'd say somewhere between that or a Yamaha TW200 is probably my favorite sub 500cc bike. I still really want a TW200.
Yeah. They're hard to argue with, except for top speed. A TW200 is pretty genius. Yeah.
Anybody want to guess what mine is?
The Grim?
No.
Yeah.
Technically, it is 460 cc's.
Right.
Yeah.
It counts.
Don't let the 500 on the side fool you.
Nope.
Yeah.
I love that bike.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I've been really thinking about this, and I have a couple that I really like, but I'll start out with, this is the runner. I like a CB354s, but I already have 2, so I don't need to get another one. But here is, I love these right here. I don't even know how to do this.
There you go.
Get it. Good job.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, the Sundep, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew Oscar would know that one right away.
Yeah. So, I love those. This is what I really want right there.
Oh, shit.
Whoa.
That's pretty hot.
And Phil knows that ball. They made it for a few years, and it's only in Japan right now. Yeah. It's still too young to be able to import.
Yeah, we can't import them yet. So that's the problem with that is in a few years, all that weirdo stuff is going to start to become available. And there's also a couple of weirdo Suzukis that are like weird scooter motorcycle hybrids that are super duper Art Deco. And they look great. They're super cool, but they're like 96, 97, 98. So we can't get them into the country yet.
Hey, what was the name of that last bike?
It's a Solo 50.
Solo 50, yeah.
Wow.
I like the minimalistic. It's like a bike with a 50cc motor on it. I like the minimalistic look of it. I don't know why, but I've wanted one for such a long time, but forget it. I'll probably never get one, but
yeah, but I think those are going to be
and import the hearse.
Yeah.
What's that?
Stick one of them in the back of a hearse and import the hearse.
Yeah.
Bring the hearse in full of weird JDM bikes. Because nobody's going to look inside a hearse. Nobody would think to look inside of a hearse for all that kind of crap.
Especially now at this point.
Right. I totally agree. Yeah, I guess as I'm thinking, it's so weird when you think about 500 cc's as that limit of that, like, okay, what bike are you going to own? Because 500's a bitch of a class because there are a lot of 500s that do stuff really, really well. So if you think about even the mid 80s and you look at an Interceptor 500, an Interceptor 500 was a fucking amazing motorcycle by any standards, well over 100 miles an hour, a real proper sport bike. You think about the Suzuki Gamma 500, the RG 500 Gamma, that thing's mind-bending, and it's a 2-stroke, so it gets the fetish vote. and all that stuff. But it's a terrible bike that you'd never want to ride that bike to work on a daily basis. So
Phil,
yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't make mention of your 500 trophy.
The GB.
The GB.
Right. And because
is that $499 or is that $500?
No, it's $499, and it's absolutely, it falls in the class with the Ascot. It falls in the class with a lot of stuff. It's just a lot nicer to look at, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I was thinking like the GB 500 might be the one. It's reliable, it's fast enough, it's sexy to look at, and it can kind of do whatever the fuck you want it to do because it's a Honda 500 single, you know.
So speaking of small displacement bikes that are, well, I mean, what we're talking about right now is small displacement bikes. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit drugged up, just a tiny bit. Really I'm really worried that some of the things I'm saying are not making sense. But
well, let's clarify that you got your pie hole invaded by a dentist and pulled stuff out of your face, right?
Yeah. Did I send that picture to the group chat of my X-ray?
Did you get the tooth pulled?
No, so I didn't have the tooth pulled. They're going to try to save it because of. So basically, they're going to. I've got a really nice used motorcycle going in my mouth.
Right.
So they're deadening the nerve, and then they're going to do a root canal in 2 weeks. They started the process yesterday, but and then
I didn't realize that the only reason they save a tooth is because it's a lot more expensive.
Right.
Yeah, it's actually yeah. There it is. Phil's got the picture of my half a tooth, and if you look, you can see where there's the nerve going through, and you can see the nerve just hanging out where it's broken, just flopping around in the breeze, living its best life.
Phil's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude.
Cam, I'm surprised that doesn't hurt.
Oh.
Keep your dick in your face.
Right. Yeah. So what I wanted to ask was, in the expert opinions of my esteemed colleagues here at the Cleveland Moto Podcast, is it ever too late in your riding career to justifiably own a Ninja 250?
No.
Great bike, man.
No.
I really, really feel like I should own one.
No,
I've
they're
looked at the X500s too, but I really want a 250 for a really stupid reason, because they made a paint scheme that matches my truck.
Okay, that is a stupid reason.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the only reason I want. That's not the reason I want an Ninja 250, but that's the reason I want the specific color.
Now wait, I've seen your truck, and so did Tonka make a truck? Did Tonka make a version of your truck?
Probably.
And if they did, can we get a toy Ninja of the exact same color to put in the back of the Tonka version of your truck?
That's kind of the goal, Phil.
Asking the important questions.
It was like the first or second podcast I was on. There was a couple that was selling a Ninja to you, I think, and it was a Ninja 250, and it was the black with the gradient purple and blue stripes on it.
The purple and blue. Yep, exactly.
And I've regretted not buying that bike since. And then I bought my truck, and I really regretted it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I totally get that.
I feel like the Ninja 250 would be a very happy medium between the Z125 and the Z-Rex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's funny, there's like a green one that's pretty low miles that I think is like $800, and it's like, I love lime green, but it's not.
Dude, you should get that, and we should pull the motor out and put it inside your Z125.
Jesus Christ. No, I mean, the thing is there's so much KLX 110 shit you can do that, I mean, you can get wherever you want to be on that bike.
So, all right, Oscar, what about you?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, Phil even mentioned the bikes that sort of look good, but they're not that reliable. They're not even worth like going on the freeway. I love the CT110. And for the aesthetics, and I got this one from Phil as well, the Fuji Rabbit, that fucking thing is gorgeous. I love that fucking bike.
I love that scooter.
But it's a couch. I mean, it's not fast. I mean, it was super advanced for its time, but I mean, it's a whale.
It is a whale.
You can look good, but fucking zombies are gonna eat you, man.
You should do what my friend Gary did. Get a Fuji Rabbit, put a Ninja 250 motor in it.
Yeah, and it's nicely done too.
Yeah. Look. Oh yeah, it's badass.
We need to talk.
Yeah.
Hey, how's your Heineken? I can never say it. Heineken or or Heineken, whatever the hell it is, coming the electric version of it.
It has been sitting. I have not had a chance to do any work in the garage lately, but
we discussed your bike without you being here. So what are you doing?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Everything has been sitting lately. I do want to get back in there and start some more wrenching. I've got to do a lot of reorganizing and cleanup. Since I got the CT110 a couple weeks ago, I have literally that was the last spot of room I had left in the garage. So I need to rearrange so I have room to work on stuff again. So I think this weekend I will be taking that on and trying to make it a workable space again.
How long?
I think I need to open a door. I'm getting higher than giraffe pussy on fucking ether.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah. So
fair game.
You flew into Cleveland to buy a wrecked Zero. We talked about this a while ago, but Zero might have it up. So you flew in. Phil hooked you up with finding. Oh, Phil's doing something, but he hooked you up finding a wrecked Zero, and you're taking it back. And what are you doing with this thing?
So what I've done so far is I've completely dismantled the Zero. I've cut the frame up to create a subframe where the engine and the rear swing arm mount. So that will be bolted into the frame of the Heinkel to create the powertrain. My plan is to have someone build a shortened swing arm to fit within the scooter frame with the smaller wheel, and basically fit in the entire Zero powertrain into the Heinkel and make it an electric Heinkel. And it'll have the range and power of a Zero with there'll be 12-inch wheels. And I've already got the rear wheel done. I had Buchanan lace up a 12-inch rim to the Zero hub. It worked out great, and I'm probably going to do the same for the front.
Did you change the sprocket?
What's that?
You change the rear sprocket on that.
Oh, everything's going to have to be changed because it's.
I'm just saying it would be like it would top out at like 40 miles an hour with the.
Well, the rear sprocket from the Zero FX is larger than the rim that I have on there now.
Oh, really?
It's like a 13-inch belt pulley, I guess you call it. And the rim's a 12-inch rim. So I suppose you could try to make that work if I could find a belt with the right length. But I figure it's just easier to use a chain.
Just don't lean at all. You're fine.
Don't lean
straight.
Don't lean to the left anyway.
Right.
Only right turns.
Right. I feel a world record event. If you get that pulled off, you could have the world's fastest Heinkel. Or Heine, I can't say it.
Maybe.
Fastest Hyman.
No, the world's fastest Hyman.
Because there was somebody who made a two-stroke Heinkel. I don't know what cylinder they used. They kept the Heinkel in the engine case, but put a two-stroke cylinder on it, and just completely bastardized the thing. It was absolutely insane. It used as a race bike. Huh. That might have actually been faster. Somebody also turned a Heinkel into a drag bike using some Kawasaki 1000 motor or something, and it had like the whole back of the thing all cut up, but it still looks kind of like a Heinkel.
All right.
But this would be the first electric one that I know of.
Yeah.
Well, my goal this weekend is to complete that BMW.
Okay. All right.
I've just started it today, and I guess I could try to find the picture, but it's I have it all torn apart in the garage at work. So is that coming up?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I bought a new front end and a frame, and I just transferred. I had to take the bottom end of the bottom fork tubes off and switch them, because the ones that I bought, they said they were for 74s, but they were definitely not 74. So nothing else would fit on it.
Okay.
So, but that's my project for this weekend, and I figure I get maybe 60% of it done tomorrow. But the electrical is like 50% of the work, I think, and it's probably the same way with you, Bagel, right? I mean, the electrical is of course you're using you're making an electrical scooter, but
right. Well, with mine, the electrical's already. I'm using all the stock electrical components, so there won't be a whole lot of electrical I'll need to do other than wiring in the stock lighting and stuff like that. It's the mechanicals that's really going to be the challenge for my electric conversion, because trying to figure out exactly how the subframe needs to be mounted in there, all the geometry for the suspension, figuring out what I'm going to do for the front fork, because I still haven't figured that out yet. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm very confident that it's going to be kick-ass once it's done.
Yeah, we are too.
Hey, Cam, did you see my Bavaria in the background?
Oh, I sure did. I try not to look at older BMWs, because then it makes me want to think about either keeping mine or acquiring more of them, and that's the opposite of what I need to do.
There's a dude in Menor that drives around in an orange, like 2000 something. They're not year 2000, but the BMW 2000.
Oh, the wide body. Yeah, that's my buddy John. He's an airline pilot.
It's fucking awesome.
Is it a roundy? Does it have round taillights?
Yeah, it hit round tail lights. It's awesome.
Yeah,
wide body kit on it, and it's fast. He's got a roll cage in it, but he's a daily driver during the summer. He always passes work, and he's just cruising around. It's
do you guys know what? Do you guys know what else Heinkel was famous for? They made they had a brief stint of building
model airplanes,
jet planes, and
airplanes.
World War II.
They made airplanes for about 25 years until they weren't allowed to make them anymore for some reason.
But they had the Michigan flag on the back of it, so that was
until the rest of the world decided they weren't allowed to make them anymore.
You will make bubble cars and scooters now.
Yeah.
You guys are really, really super good at that, but we're going to need you to turn that down about 70%.
Keep your flying machines on the ground from now on.
So I want to make sure that there's absolutely no way that there's any sort of a military application that you can have with this cabin roller thing. No. It's totally. It's not for civilian, not for personnel. Yeah,
there's no place to mount a machine gun on this at all.
Yeah, when you take away when you take away Germany's ability to build weapons of war, things get really weird, and there's when you start looking at the entire world of Germany when it is not allowed to build weapons, when Germany is allowed to only build things that are civilian, you get this.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And
have you ever driven one of those, Phil?
No, I have never
fucking
driven
stink.
one.
It's like sitting in it cooks you.
Yeah. Well, again.
Look, that one looks like the BMW. There's a BMW, right? That's kind of the
BMW
Isetta, yeah.
The Messerschmitt cabinen roller might be my best and favorite example ever of a company that really, really, really super duper wants to kill people and isn't allowed to.
Well, I mean, it could kill you if you sat in there on a hot day.
Yeah, it would be like basically
like a dog in a hot
if you
car.
told Smith & Wesson, if you said Smith & Wesson, from now on, you're only allowed to build skateboards.
Yeah, but could you imagine if they told the Germans you could only make normal porn?
No scat.
I have a feeling it'd be technically correct, though. If you go back into the list of Germans had a version of everything. So Germans never imported something to Germany. They always built their own version of it. So they would never take in something from another country. They would instead take the concept of it and then build it themselves and then sell it to Germans.
Sounds like China.
I like about the Germans. I mean, there was this Mercedes commercial where these guys are like going. It was like an operating room, and their Mercedes was in the middle of it, and they were examining the Mercedes, and they're saying all these innovations that they have on it. Right. And these Japanese guys are watching like the operation of them looking at the Mercedes, And then finally the guy's like, and we have cup holders. And the Japanese guy started screaming, "We invented the cup holder! We invented the cup holder!"
That's ours.
But they took it off. They took that commercial off the air. I saw it for like a week, and then it was gone. It must have been so offensive that they had to remove it.
Tom, I think, Tom, your fantasy scooter is a Hoffman Vespa, right?
Not quite. Mine is actually the Augsburg Vespa.
Oh, in Augsburg, right?
Hoffman was the first licensee that built Vespas in Germany. After that, it was Messerschmitt, who made the Messerschmitt Kabinenroller that you just showed us.
Yep.
But after that, Vespa decided to take back their license because Messerschmitt was making too many changes that they didn't like. So Vespa set up their own subsidiary in Germany to build their own version of the Vespas for the German and other European markets because there was so much demand that the factory in Italy couldn't keep up.
Right.
So what they did was they basically built the same bikes in Germany under their own subsidiary, but there were a lot of little subtle differences. And
like electronics that worked?
Yeah, that for one. Divitto Electronics and Hella. So it was all very good stuff.
That's your problem right there.
Carbs.
There's your problem right there.
Yep, 4
Hey,
carbs.
John, I'd recommend that you throw those as far as you can because those are good for nobody.
We don't need this kind of negativity here.
But the Augsburg Vespas had thicker sheet metal than the Italian Vespas.
Yeah.
And they had this really nice chrome strip along the side of the cowls that looked really, really clean.
Beautiful.
And then beautiful swan neck taillight on the back. It was like this oval light. It was gorgeous. And that is my up the butt bike.
It's really years ago. I can't remember where the hell my wife and I, we were in Rudesheim, Germany, which is a beautiful town along the Rhine, and we were at the Hans Kruger Museum in Rudesheim. And Hans Kruger sold tons of accessories for Vespa scooters in Germany, and in fact, he invented a lot of his own accessories for Vespa scooters in Germany. And he was in bad shape then. He was in a wheelchair, and we went and toured his museum. But
is that Freddy Krueger's brother?
It's no, it's his uncle. Yeah,
okay.
Uncle Hans. Yeah, Uncle Hans, and he was but they called him Hantenmesser. So there was yes, he was Friedrich Messerhans. Yeah, but that museum, one of the things they had is they had this beautiful gold painted, like a beautiful gold painted Vespa. It was an Augsburg Vespa with a sidecar.
Oh, wow.
With every fucking accessory you could imagine on this thing, including a giant bell that was mounted under the floorboards that you could activate with your foot. And when you pushed the button on this bell, it was louder than fuck.
Wow.
It got your attention. It was like a streetcar bell. Yeah. And it was really cool. But everything there was 100% German-built Vespa with a sidecar. So it was really cool.
Yeah, those vintage Vespas, they love their accessories in Germany.
I want to know what Nick's doing.
Nick,
do you guys want to see a time capsule?
Yeah.
Yep.
Points.
This is the Vespa moped engine.
That is a moped engine.
This was in my first bike, which was a Vespa Grande.
Grande, yeah.
And if you look here, that's the hole that the points threaded into.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And when I was 14 years old, I broke that off and I replaced it with a bunch of JB Weld. And I threaded an 832 screw into it to hold my points.
Yeah.
And it worked for a while.
Yeah.
For a
while.
Yeah, back in the day, in high school, I think I had this engine apart every single day.
I've got 2 of those in my garage. I have no idea what to do with.
Nick's like, send them to me.
Yeah.
So, Dan, you have not responded with your favorite under 500cc bike.
Well, you got me thinking about that, too, because I've owned exactly 4 motorcycles under 500 cc's, and those were the first 2 motorcycles I bought and the last 2 motorcycles that I bought. I'm going to show you the last 2 I bought here.
Okay.
This is a 1965 Honda S65.
Oh,
Cool.
It's a beautiful bike.
And I bought that just for
Soft spot for toaster tank Hondas.
Say again?
He said
I
something.
have a soft spot for toaster tank Hondas.
Oh, yeah.
I bought this from Mid-Ohio this year. I've never had a pit bike before. This is the bike I bought in the middle of March. This is the Yamaha CS5 200. So I'm going to get to learn about how hard it is to keep these things going. That's the fun stuff.
Okay, then. I have a gallon of Milkstone Report.
nice turn signals.
Dan, was the first bike? Was that original or was that was that restored already? The little 50 or 70 cc or whatever it was.
No, that was restored. They never made it that color. That was restored by a friend of mine on the east side.
It was really cool how the intake came right out of the frame and into the carb too.
Yeah, that was neat. I was looking at that too, Bagel.
Yeah,
That was very cool.
Dan, you'll be very disappointed to know that I sold my CS5 and a whole parts bike and everything that I had, including NOS pistons and all this bullshit. I got it out of my life for $250.
Oh.
I wish that I would have given it to you if I still had it, but it was a lot of fun. I blew one up. I was doing the Lake Erie Loop at the time, and it was a lot. That I had that bike all apart and back together. So if I can help you in any way, please let me know.
And Chris Smith is drinking from the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch, it looks like.
He is.
So, Mr. Smith, as you're pouring yourself your fun juice, what is your answer to the under 500 cc question?
Well, first let's talk about the fun juice.
Okay.
Booze.
That is Blanton's single barrel bourbon. So that's my fun juice for the evening.
Pretty solid.
Solid.
Fantastic. Anybody want to see my 2014 Mouser?
Yeah.
Sure.
Here's my 2014 Mouser. Yep. That's it.
They gave you a real lion.
Yeah,
That's a real lion.
Yeah, that's proper.
That's a hefty puss.
Yeah, that's a
So to speak.
That is every bit of a 2014 Mouser right there. Yeah. Yeah.
I caught my buddy talking to his cat when he didn't think anybody else. He thought I was still out in the garage.
Yeah.
And he was like talking to his cat like nose to nose, and he's like, "You and me are brothers. You're a real lion." Dumbass Cleveland APL sold me a real lion for $20.
Smith, what's your bike?
Well, I don't know how to pull the photos up and put them online.
Tell us and we'll find it.
But Phil knows that one of the first bikes I bought from him was a 2013 Royal Enfield C500 military.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed the shit out of that bike, and it was always well received by folks who didn't know what it was, and took me back to a bike that my dad had back in about 1954. So that bike is always very special to me. And then the other bike is the 1981 Suzuki GS 450.
Slow down. We can only get one up at a time here, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's a great bike, Phil. I'd buy another one of those, and hopefully not break it within a year.
Did your dad have the BSA or did your dad have the Norton?
He had a Norton.
Norton, right?
A British military surplus Norton that he bought down in Morocco when he was there after World War II. So so that was always pretty cool for me, and I'm glad you had that bike. And I don't know if you remember when I walked into your shop over there on Sloan and I saw that and I just fell in love with it. I said,
"Oh yeah,
I want that bike," and you said, "Oh, you can't have it." And I said, "Why not?" And you said, "Well, I already promised it to somebody else." And I said, "Well, I'll outbid the guy." And you said, "No, fuck you. Maybe I'll get another one." But so you eventually got another one. But
yeah. Oh yeah. It took a little while, but we eventually did get another one.
Yeah. And you know, for me, what I was trying to do on a bike at that point, that was just a really great, fun bike.
So this is the other one you were talking about right here?
Yeah, the GS 450E, 1981, but that's an 82. And I've never been able to find that fairing or that
It's
little.
really tough to find that fairing.
Yeah, boy, I'd love to find that thing because that's.
We just had a black one. We had a black one in the shop that had the proper windjammer on it, and the proper windjammer looks really nice on that bike. It's a really, really small windjammer. It's about the smallest windjammer they ever made. And it looks really good on the bike because the bike has a lot of Buck Rogers kind of styling to it. Yeah. And the windjammer, windjammers don't always look great on bikes because they tend to be very angular. And on that particular bike, it looks really good.
Did the windjammer that was on that bike have a square head plate?
It did, yeah.
Then it was the windjammer Quicksilver.
The Quicksilver, exactly. You're right. Yep, right on. Yeah.
Nick is a wealth of information there.
Nick has on point, as they say.
I know the difference between a Windjammer 2 and a Windjammer 3. Let me just put it that way.
You are the very model of a modern Major General.
And I know the difference between a one-knuckler and a two-knuckler, but that's... Oscar, did you answer? What's your 500cc or under?
I did.
Oh,
he answered.
Who didn't? John, McElfresh didn't.
I did not.
All right.
I think I'm kind of with Nick. I mean, I like my Super Hawk a lot. That's a keeper. I'm probably never going to get rid of that bike. If it ever blows up, I would rebuild it. I would like to maybe restore it a little bit better, maybe some paint and stuff like that. But I like Hondas, and especially toaster tank Hondas, chrome panels on the tank. I would like to maybe someday own a 450 Bomber.
Yeah.
I think would be a really cool bike, or the
that's close.
ever elusive 69, where the 1969 CB 450 with chrome panels on the tank, but it's not a bomber kind of bike.
Yeah.
The other bike that I also have never owned, but I've ridden and I really, really like when we talk about Honda Twins is the SS 125 series. That was the SS was a 2-cylinder, 125cc, 2-carburetor little Honda that was, came out for a little while. They're pretty rare, but they're a really beautiful, cute little bike. And the motor just runs like a sewing machine.
What year
No
is that?
vibration, it's, your typical Honda, all roller ball bearing crank and everything like that. So
what year was that?
That's like the SS 125s, I think were like 67, 68.
Well,
they're sort of pre 175s, like. Yeah. Other than that, anything. I like a lot of sub 500cc bikes. I'm pretty happy with my Ascot. Nick, could you come get your cat, please?
Yes.
Oh, that was Nick's.
You guys all had black cats.
Yeah, I think about it.
If
I wasn't so allergic to them.
Yeah.
Actually, Oliver's pretty cool. He's like hypoallergenic. He doesn't even make my, I'm a little bit allergic to him, but for whatever reason, he doesn't seem to bother me too much.
You know what's crazy? I used to be super allergic to cats. Like I couldn't even touch a cat. I would blow up and have hives and everything. And when I quit dairy, my cat allergy went away.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
he likes to headbutt me in the face. He likes to scratch himself with my beard.
Okay. Show of hands, no comments. Who thinks that Mid-Ohio is going to happen this year as scheduled?
Mid-Ohio does, but besides that, no.
Okay. All right. So that's
I actually, before we came on tonight, I checked to see on Facebook and everywhere else what Mid-Ohio was saying.
Right.
And as of 2 days ago, they're still posting like, come check us out. We're going to have...
They are 100%. They are 100%.
Well, yeah, because they want you to buy the tickets. That's why.
Yeah, what do they got to lose?
Out that I didn't raise all 5 fingers. I raised 2 fingers. Very uncertain facial expression. Mm-hmm. So we have half of one person that thinks it's going to happen this year.
So here's my question. If it happens, are you going?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll go.
I'll die for Mid-Ohio because I'll die without it. That's
right.
I'm sorry.
I've got the time off. I have not canceled it yet. I'm cautiously pessimistic.
So, John, do you think it's going to be a low count, that it's even the subjects are going to be kind of flaky, or what's?
I mean, I really don't know. I mean, that's 2 months away, 3 months away.
I think
we're talking about trying to get back to work here at the end of this month, and we'll know real quick after everybody comes out of hiding and starts mingling again and getting out there what's going to happen. In a month after that, you'll see if counts go up. I mean, today was 93 hospitalizations in Cleveland, so we haven't exactly peaked. We actually kind of we're still bouncing around. I think we're still kind of going up a little bit.
Yeah, we're still climbing.
And the sad part is I have a friend that's in the ER, and he's like, not that there's tons of people coming in, but the people that are coming in, they're not doing well. Like, there's no, it's not a.
That's why I'm so freaked out. My buddy's an ICU nurse, and he walked me all the way through, like, what's going to happen to you when you go to the hospital, and it ain't cool.
No, it's not at all.
300 and some in New York City had 368 deaths today, and that's one day.
America hit, in the last 24 hours, we lost 4,700 people. That's 9/11.
We're very lucky to live in a city that kind of has a lot of hospital beds compared to other cities, but still issues here.
Yeah, the last time I talked with Eric, he's like, they only had 17 patients at the one where he works, and they had plenty of beds left over and everything like that. But still, I mean, you don't want to be one of those people.
No, but that's the thing. Like, all these idiots that are out there not doing the social distancing thing, they're like, oh, look at the hospitals, they're empty. That's what you fucking want. If you get sick, you want an empty hospital. You don't want to fucking be on the street not being able to get a bed. Like, just chill out for a little while, That's all.
You have 97 hospitalizations a day on lockdown. What's going to happen when you stop that?
Right. You don't want to be the one to fill up those beds.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not changing I'm not going out once this thing is lifted. Hell no.
Well, I mean, a lot of us are going out, but you just got to be really smart about it and, avoid other people literally like the plague. And, I guess if you go to Mid-Ohio, I still think even in July, you'd be taking a pretty big chance.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, are you going to go to Mid-Ohio? Are you going to wear a mask? Are you going to wear PPE? Are you just going to pretend like, you know what, it's a free weekend. I'll just going to live it up for one weekend and hope I don't get it and come, you know what I mean? I don't know.
If Mid-Ohio happens, I would wear a mask. Well, I would go, but I would wear a mask.
I think it's the first time in Mid-Ohio you'll ever see people wearing helmets.
All I know is I'm going to have to stop licking bikes to signify that they're mine.
You're going to have to urinate on them.
Yes.
Yeah. Every time you take a test ride, you just cough all over it as you're getting off, and they're like, "Yeah, you can have that for half the price." Here you go. Yeah, just take it.
And for the first time in 22 years or whatever, syphilis won't be the biggest virus spread at Mid-Ohio.
Right. Yep, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at those numbers, that when you start getting into 4,000 deaths a day, that's like that's the number one killer in the country at a certain point.
Yeah. Did you see the animation where they all the people that have arguments about heart disease and flu and all that stuff, and they kind of showed that, and then it changed to what we're dealing with now, and it was and everything.
Yeah, I shared that, so that might be one of the things you saw.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was.
I get it. If somebody dies and they had the COVID, but they were already, everybody's mincing words about that. Well, what really killed them? And yeah. I'm like, I don't know. But all I know is that it's a virus with no known treatment and no known vaccine. Yes. Yeah. And we really don't know where we are with it, so it's dangerous.
And it's really nasty. I mean, it literally destroys your lung tissue when it gets in there. And it takes a very long time for it to get to that point, too, which is part of why this thing is so insidious. I mean, if it got you sick after one day, it would be pretty easy to contain. But people are walking around for a month sick before they really start getting serious symptoms, and then they go to the ER.
And that was a huge thing when they just posted this thing today on all the different news sources about that naval ship that had the people sick, and they said that however many how many guys were sick, but only 5% were showing symptoms. So all these guys had the sickness, but they had no temperature, they had nothing. So like if we just open this shit up and start going to malls and start hanging out, there might be a dude that has like no temperature, no nasal, anything like that, and he's laughing, you're hung at him, and it's done. You're done.
I have a feeling that this whole thing is going to work out something like Lyme's disease, where you're never really cured of it, where you get it and you have symptoms and they go away, but you still have it and you can have recurring symptoms and stuff all the way through the rest of your life. They're already saying, you lose 20, 30% of lung function. Some people, like, now they're starting to look at brain issues and stuff like that because of, obviously you get low on oxygen. So you know what happens when you get low on oxygen? It messes with your brain. So you have cognitive issues and a whole host of other issues.
We are in the first couple of days of The Walking Dead. That's what it is. These, like, you're going to have people that are not knowing what they're doing. They're just stabbing people because they think they're protecting their family, but they're walking down the street stabbing people because their brain's fucked up from fucking this.
They're still talking about, you might not have full immunity even if you've already had it. So
that's what they said. That people are getting sick again. They're showing up for negative, and then 3 weeks later positive, and that's fucked up, man.
That then almost precludes a vaccine because
that also may be poor quality testing too. We don't really know.
Right. That's the problem. Nobody knows. You nailed it, Tom. Nobody knows what the fuck it is. Whatever.
So much for the medical segment of our show.
I don't have a problem with maybe trying to get back to, doing more essential functions and stuff like that. I go to work every day, but I put a mask on, I wear goggles and stuff. I stay the fuck away from everybody that walks through the door. I do what I have to do, and I get in there, I get out of there and everything. But none of the PPE that I have is provided by my employer. Right. And that's the thing. If you're going to say, well, it's time to come back to work, okay, well, you got masks, you have hand sanitizers, you have everything we need, because they don't have that. No, they don't have. Most places can't get that. If you go to a store, you still can't buy those things. So I don't see how you go forward and say, well, you can go back to work. We're going to wear all this stuff, but nobody has it. It hasn't been produced. It doesn't exist.
Did you guys?
I just got 6 cases of spray disinfectant in if you want one.
Well, the disinfectant isn't so hard, because you can use a 10% bleach solution. There's a million different things. Soap and water will do that, but I don't think that's really where people, like wash your hands. Okay, well, that was fucking ignorant. Okay, because we already know you can get droplets. It lives in droplets in the air, so it's an aerosol, and when you breathe it in, that's how you're really going to get sick bad quick.
Right.
Yeah, the airborne transmission is the most dangerous.
Yeah.
And they're talking, like just a casual conversation is enough to get it, to transfer it. They've documented cases where, this guy just talked. He didn't get sneezed on. He didn't get, he didn't kiss somebody. It was a conversation. The droplets in the air just from talking was enough.
And the thing is that there's so many people that aren't. So like I didn't want to go to like a big supermarket or something to buy beer for this podcast tonight. So I went to the local bodega. And I went in with a face mask and fucking all this shit and stuff. And the dude behind the counter was just the dude behind the counter. Like, he's serving all these people and stuff like that. Like, he's just there. And I was just like, wow, that's kind of weird. And, like, they're not wiping anything down. They're not doing anything. Like there's some people that are just being fucking stupid about this. And it's like, nobody's asking you to, like, not do anything. Nobody's asking you to not go out, not do anything. But just take a fucking precaution. Put a fucking face mask on. Do something. Like, just help a little bit,
And everybody's got that one friend who stands too close to them when they talk, and they spit a little bit constantly. You can feel it on your arm.
Yep.
That's what we call it, super spitter.
Yeah.
I got no problem sticking a leg out, man. If you get too close to me, I'm fucking back. Get the fuck back.
There's the
Kromke, was that Tim McDonald you're talking about?
No.
Did any of you guys see? There's a lot of seriousness going on, but there's a lot of fun stuff that's happening too that kind of alleviates some of the seriousness. And there was a group of guys from Australia that were like mechanics, and they must have taken like an 18-wheeler inner tube, and so all the guys in the garage are wearing these 6-foot giant inner tubes with overalls over them the whole month, and they're trying to do their job with these giant fucking inner tubes on, and they're walking and they're trying to pass wrenches to each other, and they're doing all this stuff. It's fucking great, and it's like at least like that's cool. Like at least promote it in a fucking positive way. It was kind of funny. Yeah.
Well, they just had I was listening to NPR. They had the Smithfield pork plant up there, and now they're up to 600 people in that plant who got it. You're working shoulder to shoulder. And these people are sick and they're cutting meat, Are they wearing masks? Or they, so I would not, I'm not buying shit from Smithfield, even, now. And then I started reading up that they're wholly owned by a Chinese holding company and stuff like that. I'm like,
but Mac, the pork chops are 40% off.
No thanks. I'm good.
Bill,
the good thing is if you cook your meat, 160 degrees is enough to kill the virus, so you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're okay, but it's just the principle. I don't want I'm not going to lie. I have definite Chinese bias right at this point. I mean, if you're going to – I believe the virus started there. I believe they did a lot.
Fluctuations is what we call it.
I believe they did. They weren't very open about letting us know how bad it is. I think they're still lying about it. They're still saying 3,500 deaths in Wuhan. And I'm sure it's probably 35,000 to 40,000.
Probably 20 million.
My friend,
21 million cell phones have gone offline since
December 15th. I'll never forget this. Before my operation, December 15th, my friend, who I've known for years, he's a reggae dude with me. He moved to China many years ago to fucking teach English. And December 15th, he lived in Wuhan. He lived fucking right there. Wow. And like Facebook, we were going back and forth, and he was posting pictures back in like December 15th of like he happened to come home for Christmas this year and was going to be here for a week or so, and now he's still here. And so he has all these students and stuff that he was teaching in Wuhan, and they sent pictures of people like just passing out in the street and dying. And he was like, and he started posting on his Facebook page back in December, yo, this shit is coming. All my friends, please know, like, this shit is coming. And they were, then Facebook was deleting his posts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fucking crazy. And so he was like PMing people like, yo, man, this is like in front of my apartment in Wuhan. And these people are laying in the streets dying. And this was going on for like a long time. So I totally don't believe any of the numbers coming from Wuhan at all.
Yeah.
Facebook is one of the biggest CCP lapdogs there is.
Yeah, it was weird.
Well, and I think though too, part of that is you got, like the cropping that's happening by Facebook is with the blessing of the federal government. They don't want to start, it's like pulling a fire alarm in a building. They're trying to prevent mass hysteria and stuff like that. So I think that's why some of that stuff got suppressed, but that's not good. I mean, we need to know what the problem is.
But are they letting everybody in the building burn to death, though? I mean, seriously.
That's the problem.
Right?
It's only like 4%, right?
I mean, yeah, only 4% of the people burned
only
to death.
4%.
Well, 4%. Let me tell you something.
Right now, so far.
One of the best things I've seen recently was a thing about Jaws, and they used Jaws the movie to kind of, and they were like, all the sharks are like, dude, it's fine, just come back in the water, it's all done, we're fine, and they're all sharpening their teeth and being excited about it. And then somebody posted a whole thing about the whole Spanish influenza in 1918 and how that happened, and it was kind of going away. And then when it was going away, all the sailors and stuff that were coming back home didn't realize that they had a whole second version of it. And so the U.S. won the war or helped it, whatever. And so they had these giant parades and shit. And then the second wave hit and killed like fucking 500 million people. It was fucking crazy, man. Like, it's just like, chill out, separate.
There was a third wave too. And the first wave was like the third wave. The second wave was really bad.
Yeah, because like it was a variation of the virus where it didn't care about age, didn't care about shit. It went straight in and killed people, man. It was fucked up. Yeah.
The biggest thing they said is take zinc and vitamin C, because the zinc stops your lungs from going into that ARDS, like where your body attacks your own lungs. Yep. So they're saying that the biggest thing you could do to help yourself is take C and zinc. And now it's even hard to find zinc picolinate because you go to any health food place and they're sold out of it.
Yeah, well,
and Hoffert, don't forget, eat lots of lemons because cancer hates high pH.
So I have immune issues. I have psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis and stuff like that. And I was taking Humira, which is a immune suppressant. Mm-hmm. So I stopped taking that. I talked with my buddies like, yeah, you probably don't want to be taking an immunosuppressant. Yeah. But then I've been reading a little bit more and thinking about it a little bit. And it's almost like you might want to be on the immunosuppressant because a lot of the damage that's being caused isn't necessarily from the virus exploding cells and stuff, but it's your body's immune system response and inflammatory response is what's fucking people up.
Yeah, turmeric's good too. I mean, turmeric is good. Turmeric and black pepper mixed together. Yeah.
Oh, I know about that. I mean, turmeric, I was taking turmeric pills, and I could actually manage a lot of my symptoms with turmeric and then taking over-the-counter non-steroidal anti-inflammatories.
Right.
So
I've been managing all my symptoms with weed, so that's been good.
Has anybody noticed?
I would love to do that, except I would probably get drug tested, and then I'd lose my job.
Has anybody noticed that the gas is down to about $1.15 a gallon?
Yeah.
Yep. And we're only down to $2 here in California.
What's California, Tom?
We're like $2 now.
$2. Yeah.
Holy shit! $2. That's some real shit right there.
Yeah. Can't remember when was the last time I saw $2 in California. Shit, that was
Santa Cruz. What? So Tom, Santa Cruz 9 months ago. How much was gas?
Probably close to $4.
Yeah.
3 months ago it was close to $4.
Yeah.
How awesome, Phil, is it to sell motorcycles and fuel efficient vehicles when the fucking price of gas is $1.15?
Yeah, it's pretty much impossible when the dude comes in and he's like, well, with my Advantage Pay and my Giant Eagle card, I get gas for 89 cents a gallon. It's tough. I mean, it's really
that pulls one of the knives out of your scabbard, which was 100 miles to the gallon. Yeah,
nobody cares. Yeah, it's a really good time to be selling used Hummers, though.
Yeah.
Or new ones.
Never a good time to be selling used Hummers. I remember when I worked, we had an H3, a used Hummer H3, and I had to drive it to deliver to the guy. And it was like a 15-mile drive. It was not bad. And one of the most hateful pieces of shit I've ever driven.
Oh, they're terrible. Yeah.
Really rotten.
But a good Hummer is really worth it.
Priceless.
I second that.
Absolutely priceless. Yeah. I mean, for just the whole idea, it's a very strange thing. There's a lot of weird shit happening at the exact same time. And the irony is just gas is cheaper than it's ever been in anyone's lifetime, adjusting for inflation. And yet there's absolutely nowhere you can fucking go to enjoy it. So if I did say like, okay, this is a fantastic time, business is slow, I'm going to pack up the old Ford Econoline E350, throw the trailer on the back, load it up like the Fisher Price Adventure Family playset, put the canoes in, the kayaks in, the motorcycles in, and off we fuck into the wilderness. No, people are being arrested for surfing alone outside of 100 feet with anybody around them. And it's like we've actually now enforced we have fun police. So if somebody says, it looks like you're having fun, you are social distancing the shit out of yourself, but you do appear to be having fun. You should have a fine for that.
What about camping? I mean, why would they close campgrounds? I mean, you're that distance apart and you're isolating yourself. So
because you saw when we rode last week, you saw why. Because people are fucking idiots in the parks. Remember when we were riding through the parks and there was like 1,000 people having barbecues and
Hoff, they don't want you infecting the bears.
We actually, Peggy's been pushing for it. We were trying to talk about what we're going to do this summer because, we camp, we have the RV and everything. Man, I don't know if the state parks are going to be open or not, but she was talking like, hey, maybe we should just sell the RV and buy a boat. We can we'll take the boat out on the lake.
Yeah, for anybody who's interested, down at the end of my street here, that Woodhaven Beach Association that you guys all know and love, the Woodhaven Beach Association is private property on Lake Erie. So I don't think anybody's allowed to come onto your private property to arrest you for a violation.
If you go out in a boat, are they going to come out and say, "Hey, you can't be out here in the middle of the water in a boat"? You got to go back home.
We've been fortunate in that we have not had to deal with it on the big levels, but I think all the beaches in California and the beaches in Florida, they've all pretty much said that these beaches are now closed.
Not today. Florida's opening today.
Florida and Jacksonville
is today.
Really?
Jacksonville, yeah.
How's Disney feel about that?
I'm sure not happy.
Yeah, because I mean, when the mouse is back in operation, it's like they say Waffle Houses. So Waffle Houses in a hurricane, if the Waffle House is closed, fucking leave town.
Yep.
Because that's the standard. Waffle Houses are considered to be like
the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, they're considered to be like the emergency
essential services.
Yeah, the last place to get fried. The last place to get fried pork is Waffle House. But somebody said it's like if you're down south and you see the Waffle Houses are closed, it's time to fucking leave.
By the way, the end of the world is near because just last week I got a bag of vegan pork rinds.
Woo!
I don't know what's in them. And I don't know if they're healthy. I don't know anything, but they don't have animal products in them, and they tasted like fucking pork rinds.
Unless they actually contain vegans, I challenge the entire concept.
Right, but so we're probably dead soon.
Just last week, I went and did a bulk buy of pork whenever I saw the first article about Smithfield closing and everything. I'm like, oh, I better. So I spent $100. I bought 3 pork shoulders, 2 pork loins, 2.
Would you say that you're a pork shoulder holder, or are you a pork shoulder hoarder?
A hoarder.
Over the shoulder holder.
A boulder holder.
And over the shoulder pork holder.
Yeah.
Hey guys, check out this base gasket.
I can't deny.
Out of a piece of corrugated cardboard.
It is literally corrugated cardboard.
And it's actually a AA battery package.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
It looks like it's leaking. It looks like it's leaking on 2 of the 3 sides. I like that one transfer port, though. That's sexy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm smoking some beef tomorrow, making pulled beef. And we're having a fire tomorrow night in the front yard. So,
how are you? That's cool.
If anybody wants to be socially distant,
right?
Come on down.
Over, and I have plenty of beer.
And your Corona can be cured by fire.
Or pulled beef sandwiches.
Just make sure you stay at the end of the laneway.
That fire will kill anything. You just got to heat it up enough.
Yeah.
All right. Just stand in the fire and you're fine.
Good hot fire.
Make sure it gets to 160 degrees and you're okay.
That's exactly
it. That was one of my favorite things. Is some asshole was like, "Oh, dude, if it hits 70 degrees, you're fine. So just put your hat at 70 degrees." It's like Celsius, you fucking asshole. It's not fucking Fahrenheit.
Yeah. This disease will never survive summer.
I was going to say that I hate it when I think I'm buying organic vegetables, and when I get home, I discover that they're just regular donuts.
Nice.
Yep.
I love donuts. Becker's. Becker's, if you call ahead, they'll make you a cinnamon swirl with maple on top.
Whoa. Nice. I bought a dozen Becker's yesterday.
They're so good. I love Becker's donuts.
Back when I was single, I used to pay girls to do cinnamon swirls with the
cream on top.
Maple on top?
Right.
Yeah.
Did you call ahead, Cinch?
No, that was a service they provided.
Well, some people call it ahead, but yeah. I was literally straining to find anything of motorcycle content, only because on top of this, we have been given the triple whammy. We are supposedly lockdown orders, no being able to be together and do motorcycle shit together, although trying to get out and stretch the wheels whenever possible, and then snow, and fuck you, more snow. It is getting absolutely insane around here right now. Here's where I think it's hilarious. The activity that we've had on Facebook Marketplace, we keep 10 or 12 bikes on Facebook Marketplace at all times.
And all your cars.
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace is the cross section of America. If you want to know what state this country's in, it's Facebook Marketplace. It tells you everything you need to know about a culture. I have had a person today go into our shop and they looked at that Moto Guzzi V11 California that we have. That's, it's got the fully adjustable suspension, linked brakes, and the whole deal. It's fuel injected, and it's an older Moto Guzzi, and it fucking runs perfect, and it's great. And we had it listed for $3,000, but then we dropped the price to $2,500. So for $2,500, you get an 1100cc motorcycle that does everything great, and it works great. I've had it to over 125 miles an hour. It's a wonderful bike.
That's what the weird ergonomics, though, right?
It is
ergonomics.
It is very much Italian cruiser, which should never exist. But it does have a very kind of an upright or an ACAC gunner riding position.
For $2,500, man, that's a good deal on that bike.
It's a really good deal on virtually any motorcycle. It's a fair price to pay. If anybody says, so I was looking at this motorcycle and it was $2,500, the first question out of your mouth should be, is it Chinese? And then if the answer is no, it's Italian, you should then go,
That's even worse.
Is it running? Is it currently functional and rideable?
Or is it a Benelli? Is it a Benelli? Is
it a Benelli? Right? Yeah. The dude came out and he's like, well, I'm looking at another one right now in Philadelphia, but the one that we have has got like 20,000 miles on it. The one he's looking at in Philadelphia has 70,000 miles on it.
Wow.
And he's actually trying to, and he said, well, I don't know. He goes, your bike was really dirty. And I went,
oh shit!
That's because I just rode it 3 days ago, and I happened to be riding it, and it happened to rain while I was riding it, and God forbid me if I didn't make it all greasy and slobbery and smear pig spit all over the damn thing.
Dare you put a working bicycle or motorcycle up for fucking sale?
Exactly, and by the way, it's the best evidence ever that the bike is fucking running is when it's still kind of fucking dirty.
It's like HGTV when they're looking at like the 3 houses and decide which one to buy, and like invariably they buy the one that's not in the neighborhood they wanted, out of their budget, but it has the cabinet fittings they like and the walls are the right color.
But that shit is so amazing because they're always like, my wife's a substitute teacher and I make wicker baskets, and we're looking for a house.
Yeah, our budget is $2.8 million. Fucking assholes.
I know.
So I just think it's funny that this guy's gone back and forth with me 7 times over a bike that is literally $2,500, which tells me he's not interested in buying the bike. He's just fucking lonely.
Right.
And that's what it is. And we're getting all these people now that they don't really want to buy motorcycles because that would mean they'd have to stop interacting with you. So the deal can never be over. The deal, which used to be like a 3-step closing process, is now a 36-step closing process because people are fucking lonely. Your old people, like old white men, are being social distanced by their family, and they deserved it for the past 20 years, but now there's an excuse. So their only hope is guys who run motorcycle dealerships.
So, Phil, I noticed that you had that sign on your door that said serious, sale only, call this number. Does that mean that people are just trying that much more to waste your time?
Yeah. Or what's funny is people will knock on the door right where the phone number is printed. And just, exactly. They'll just keep pounding on it. And we'll point at the number and we'll make the universal symbol for call me. And they'll still pound on the door. And you eventually just fucking yield. And I like to pull the trick on them where I walk towards the door, but then I fake it and I go through the service department and roll the roll-up door open. So they never expect that.
You guys should definitely do something where you're like, we've determined that the safest way for us to be is naked. And then you're just standing by naked. And if you really want to come in and fucking view the bikes, you have to deal with James, you, and everybody naked.
No. If you want to come in, you have to take off all your clothes.
True, because that's contaminated. You don't need that in the shop.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We did think that it would be a good idea because this system does work, by the way. Filtering who comes into the shop has saved me about...
Maybe you should just make people wear a garbage bag over themselves.
Also a good plan. The filtering who's coming into the shop has saved me about 32 hours a week of wasted time. But the idea is we're thinking that once this is over, instead of calling it over, we're going to call it a step down. So the people who are at the highest risk, we're going to still filter them out. So anybody who's over 51 is going to have to show cash. And if they're over 51 and they can show cash, come on in. But we sold a pair of goggles to a guy today who told us that he already had it, so he couldn't get it again because he had it back in November. And 2, that he was far too sexy to get COVID.
But he already had it.
Right. Well, this was when he said he already had it. I said, I don't think that was COVID. And he said, well, I'm too sexy to get it anyway. And then he came in and we all gave him a lot of room and we gave him plenty of space and he bought a pair of goggles and then yeah, that was it. So it's a weird environment trying to sell people things in this environment. So yeah, it's weird. So you know, what do you do? Like Chris, the idea is you hold money towards the window and you just be like, I have money, shake the money and say, I want to spend this money. Right.
I'm going to buy something.
Right. I'm going to buy something. I swear to God, I'm going to buy something. We've been tricked a few times.
Flash cash for entry.
Flash cash for entry. Swipe your credit card. That's it. Yeah. Anybody over a 700 credit score gains entrance. Yep.
There's a $25 cover charge.
Damn it, Nick! That's a really good idea.
Well, I was going to say a $500 refundable deposit to come into the store. How about that?
And that's what we've been doing all week long. Is I've been selling. I mean, I have been actually closing deals and selling bikes in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Mask on, nice. Mask on, gloves on, the whole deal. I will bring the bikes out to you. Yeah.
Yeah, because let me just say this thing is not going to let up anytime soon.
No.
And we're not going to solve this by ending lockdown. We're going to have to adapt.
Right.
We're going to have to change the way we work and live. That's the only way we're going to be able to get the economy going again before this thing is over. Because if we wait till this thing's over, everything's going to be stopped.
Yep. That's right.
You know what the funny part is that like a lot of people that only shop at Amazon and only shop online at Walmart and all these other places are like, I can't go out and do stuff. It's like you were before that. You were watching Netflix. You were jerking off and fucking your wife and ordering fucking whatever you were. So shut the fuck up and just do the same thing you're doing.
Before this, you haven't left your house in 13 days.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like,
thank God.
It's like we've set ourselves up for like being home. Like, can you imagine 40 years ago trying to do this? There was no Netflix. There was no Hulu. There was no fucking internet. There was no nothing. You would be going. There would be a lot of family murders 40 years ago.
Or Steve, you'd be reading books.
Well, of course. Okay, that's a rarity because most people can't read at this point. Like their fucking reading level is
listening to records too.
Right.
This is like it was 40 years ago. When we were growing up, there were like 1,000 fast food restaurants and 1,000 shops. So what did you do? You went outside, you played, and you came home.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't see the big deal. This is like, to me, I like this. I like it better now than it was before.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love the fact that nobody can say, dude, why aren't you here? Because I'm fucking home. That's why I'm not there.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be here.
I miss the podcast. I miss going to the shop to do the podcast together.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And I look forward to Friday night to see everybody. I mean, I see you, but it's like this is kind of bullshit. But it's still it's still okay. And the best time I had.
You're just a grumpy sewer guy.
No, I'm saying the best time I had in the last 2 weeks is when we went riding.
Right.
You know what's funny?
We were standing 10 feet apart.
Yeah, we never hugged
lunch
each other.
together.
We weren't kissing. We weren't fucking each other in the butt. We were just fucking riding bikes, which is fine. And like that's the thing.
Social distancing.
Well, it's not that hard. It's like if you just stay home during the week, you do your shit, you work, whatever. Like fortunately, we have a hobby that we can actually participate in right now and not be unsafe. Like we can ride and do stuff and not be unsafe. So it's cool.
Dude, if we were fucking square dancers right now, we'd be super fucking pissed. The fact that we're not like clog dancers or square dancers or, fucking water polo team or something, we should be thrilled that the shit that we like to do is kind of in line with the shit you're supposed to do.
The biggest bummer of my whole thing right now is we can't go to Porco, which is in your back.
Yeah.
Like once in a while, it'd be nice to go and have a drink at a place that made good drinks instead of buying shitty beer or doing whatever,
Right.
I think it's probably best if I just don't go to Porco. I always get sideways. I always.
What's funny
Johnny Mac, things are getting dark over where you are.
Yeah.
Well, I was losing internet connection out in the garage, so I'm bouncing back and forth, and I didn't have time to get set up and everything. I was dealing with grandma and stuff, so
your whole family
trying to shit.
So your whole family is super stoked that you smell like gas right now, right?
They don't give a fuck about me, to be honest. Piper's up on the third floor, like I don't even see her anymore. I got in big trouble because I came home, I fucked around, I cooked dinner, did all kinds of stuff. I thought she was over at Grandma's. I didn't hear a peep out of her. So I took everything over to Grandma's, and Peggy's like, "Where's Piper?" I'm like, "I thought she was here with you. She's at the house." I'm like, "I didn't fucking know. She didn't say shit to me." I came and went, and she didn't even know I was here. She didn't even care. Didn't say a word to me.
Welcome to teenagers.
Yeah. I'm like, well, fuck her. She doesn't get dinner then. She can have leftovers. I'll take it home when I go home.
But that's why we matter. Once you get over the teenager thing, that's why all your buddies matter, and that's why it's okay. Smith, you're hammered, aren't you? What's going on?
No, not yet. I'm doing pretty well. What about you?
I can only imagine what my little 13-year-old is doing with massive amounts of alone time, up doing whatever she's doing. I don't want to even fucking know. But I just keep telling her, don't disappoint me.
John, is this one yours or is this Nick's?
I think that's – that's Nick's. Give that back to Nick.
All right. Yeah. All right. You never know.
There's always
What do you got there, Kromke? Noah's Mill. All right, let me have a taste of it.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Pass it around.
Daniel always has. He probably has his whole retirement fund is in booze, and he only breaks out a shot or two, and teases us with all his exciting booze.
Amazing booze.
Yeah.
Do you ever get the feeling that your cat would really love it if you would just vigorously itch its asshole? Because my cat is always presenting his asshole to me, and I'm like, I'm not going there, bud. I'll scratch your tummy, I'll scratch everything, but I am not going to fucking itch your asshole for you.
Yeah, that's
okay then.
Yeah.
Oh, the African twin deal just got sweetened.
I get you some cat scratch fever, baby.
Well, all right, let me ask you guys this. If we're still in this specific almost there. If we're still in this specific situation come mid-Ohio time, what are we doing? Are we doing a virtual mid-Ohio? Are we going to take our temperatures and hang out, or what are we doing?
Not going to happen.
Well, I know it's not going to happen. So I'm saying, what are we going to do?
Why don't we go for a ride? Why don't we go for if we're able to camp someplace? Why don't we just go for a long ride and camp someplace?
Yep. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Same here.
Yeah,
and then a weekend of this, and we'll film it all and do it all together. But
and then 11 days later, we can be the perfect little Corona hotspot right in the middle of northern Ohio.
Nobody's sucking each other's dicks, dude. We're just fucking riding with,
Wait, what? That's not going to happen? Whoa.
Hey, speak for yourself, Cinch.
Hey. I got a small mouth. I got big hands. That's all I got. So that's all
I'm hoping that if it does get shut down, it'll be postponed. Because if it's postponed, everything else is getting postponed too. Punk rock bowling is off. All that stuff, and for us, Mile High Mayhem, the Denver Rally, all that stuff. It's all
Theater Bazaar.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Theater Bazaar. Yeah, we can probably do that around Christmas.
Going down the tubes.
Which I love that idea, by the way.
Barricade's been postponed already, and they're talking about August or September.
Yeah, I'm okay if we just move everything to be October and November events, or maybe just have October be the official month of events.
Yeah.
My birthday's postponed till next year.
There you go. I agree with that too.
I feel like I'm just going to roll my vacation into next year. I'll probably have I get an extra week next year, so I'll have 4 weeks of vacation, and I will party like a rock star. I'll take a motorcycle adventure 1 week. I'll do this. I'll live it up next year.
I mean, not to be, I'm curious because I don't work in this kind of environment, but with the medical sort of load that we have right now, the amount of clinical lab work and stuff that's piling up all over America, is there any chance if you had that kind of a job that you think there's even a micro blonde one's chance that you'd get drug tested anytime in the next 35 days?
I'd say no, because the unions are fighting it right now. Like the unions where I work are saying that if you call me for a drug test, I'm not going in there because you're risking exposure to the coronavirus. So fuck you, I'm not going. And
I would say 100% yes. That most of your employers are fucking assholes and don't have common sense. Don't give a fuck about you. And if it came up that you were supposed to get a drug test, by God, they'd fucking send you. While they're working at home, they'd make you go down and get it and would fuck you over just the same or harder, even with this thing going on.
Mr. Smith.
Well, I'm going to tell you over that at the Cleveland Clinic, they've suspended all random drug testing.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Just
And let me just say, for healthcare workers, right now would be a really bad time to fire somebody for smoking pot.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
Also, as a general humanistic thing, smoking pot keeps me from killing a lot of people. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. Where's that noise coming from?
Excuse me.
No, I'm saying there's like a gurgling sound coming through.
Yeah, somebody's doing something. I don't know.
Oh, that might be my boiler.
Okay, Nick, I'm gonna mute you.
I'll mute it.
All right, there. Nick, that was it. Nick's muted.
Was that it?
Yep.
What the hell kind of boiler do you have, Nick?
Hold on, I gotta unmute him to hear. All right, bring it over, Nick.
It's his heater for his house.
Is it a steam? Is it steam?
Hey, on.
It's just hot water heat.
Is it just hot water?
Yeah.
Why is it? I mean, usually steam sounds like that, but why is hot water sounding like that?
I don't know.
Got noisy water.
You have air in the lines, or are you low on water?
I don't think so.
What's the pressure on it? It should be 20 pounds.
Okay, let's see. We're gonna look at this together.
Yeah. Okay. And then you can cough into the microphone. It'll tell you if you have the corona.
You see that? It's showing about 20 pounds.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
We're at about 110 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's kind of low.
That's low.
The thing is that at 20 pounds, it should be resting temperature or resting pressure should be 20 pounds at like 70 degrees.
Really?
You might have air. Do you have air bleeds on your radiators?
Yes.
Better go bleed.
We're learning shit right now.
Steve's got to head over there for a service
I know
call.
nothing about this stuff.
You got to bleed all the upper radiators, like the top. I don't know how tall your house is. And what do you have? A 2-story house?
Yeah.
So you have to go to your top radiators, and there's a key you put in the bleed valves and see if there's any air in it.
Okay. So let's look at one of my radiators real quick.
They also have little caps and Schrader valves on them. If they're old, you can just bleed the air out of the Schrader valves.
Right.
The old Cleveland Moto POC shop was all hot water heat. And it bleeds.
This is one of my radiators. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, so that one, you need there's a key that goes, and there's a little tiny key that they sell at hardware stores, and you open it, you see if there's any air in there, but usually it's the top one on the top floor will have air.
Okay.
Any of them couldn't catch air, so.
Right.
Many of them can, but typically it's the top. Typically it goes to the top. So, but at 20 pounds, it seems to be okay. I mean, 20 pounds is usually what you carry in that system.
And so what would I do? Would I just get one of those keys and open it and wait till water comes out?
Yeah.
Well, water should come out immediately. So,
okay.
Well, unless there's much air in it.
And now that we've lost 27,000 listeners, that's
Oh no, but we picked up the entire HVAC union.
Right.
Podcast.
Fucking those guys are like.
Wait,
I'm gonna mute myself again so you can't hear the boiler.
Right. And I was gonna say, if we're talking about problems, let me show you my wiener. I have this weird lump, and I want to.
Hey, Cinch, call Rand if you got a problem there.
Oh, wait, now, so have we heard from Rand?
Yeah, have we heard from Rand?
No, we have not. Let me take a quick look. I'm going to go ahead.
And overboard.
You guys are
Have we
interested?
heard from any of the listeners?
I'm sorry?
Have we heard from any of the listeners involved?
Yeah, we have, but
We heard from the one COVID girl.
Right.
She's 19 and easy to catch.
You got a number?
Just soon.
I've been lonely for about a month.
You know, a lot of countries got the COVID, but China got it right off the bat.
Oh, fucking dad jokes.
Oh, I guess what was it like tomorrow is like National Bat Day or something?
Really?
You know, there's like made up holidays for everything. I think apparently like April 18th is National Bat Day or something. My girlfriend was telling me.
Really?
I was like, oh, it's like Bat Awareness Day. I'm like, we're all pretty fucking aware of bats right now.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm pretty fucking far from okay.
You know, actually, that brings up an issue. Not to prolong the COVID portion of this podcast, but I'm worried about, because this spread from animals to us, to humans. What's going to prevent us from spreading it to animals here that are going to spread it back to us later? I mean,
Ask that guy that fucked a tiger.
Right? Well,
Always wear a prophylactic.
Mm-hmm. So this is what I think the situation with the tiger in what was it, the Bronx Zoo?
Yeah.
They said a tiger tested positive for COVID-19.
Yep.
I would like to point out that if you look at when Tiger King was released on Netflix and when the $1,200 stimulus checks came out, this fell right in the middle. Because I think everyone's takeaway from Tiger King is you can own a tiger for $2,000.
That's horrible. Horrible.
So I'm pretty sure that's where I think the COVID tiger in the Bronx Zoo is AstroTurf. That tiger's fucking fine.
Yeah,
but they don't want us all going out and buying $2,000 tigers. Because you watch Scarface and he's having his wedding. He's like, hey, look at my tiger. And everybody runs down and he shows him off his tiger. And now we're realizing, in retrospect, thanks to Joe Exotic, we realized that was probably the cheapest thing he ever owned.
Yes.
The tiger was probably like $600 in 1983 money.
Sure, but ask Roy how that turned out for him.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to know how the fuck the tiger got a test, and most people can't get one.
Right.
They're fucking testing tigers.
Yeah, I'm surprised how the cat now is with Nick over there in the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead and pass him over, Nick.
Oh, yeah?
Send him over this way. Yeah. All right, there he goes. Yeah. All right, there he goes. Yeah, we got it.
That is awesome.
All right, Nick.
That is awesome.
There he goes. Oh, he's back again.
Oh.
There he goes. All right, there you go, Nick. Pass it over to everybody. Yeah, there you go. That's the last time we can do that. My cat just got a case of the ass and fucked off hard. I just got little kitty cat 16-wheel drive right across my trousers. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. That's the last time we played that game.
You're like bleeding in 19 places. You're like fucking cat claws.
Here he is, Phil.
Oh, there he is. He fucked off to John's house.
He came over to me.
Fucked off to John's house.
Oh, good.
I know. I want to start podcasting in the garage because my neighbor's got a black cat that's an outside cat, and she walks into my garage when it's open like she owns the place.
Perfect.
The running gag of all days. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And Oscar's going to get a black cat right now.
No, I'm not.
I'm going to show up with a black cat. Of course, it'll have stripes on it like a zonkey. Yeah.
A tiny zebra. There you go.
I swear to God, it's a Siberian tiger. Yeah, I think that's a decent idea.
Anything else at this point?
I think that's it. Anybody got any other reason we should prolong the bleeding?
Wait, hold on. Tom, how is California better than our shitty state at this point? Give us a 2-second rundown, because we're snowing.
Ohio's not shitty.
What?
Well, we've been sheltering in place now for a month, and we've kept the outbreak. The pace of the outbreak has slowed significantly, so I'm feeling cautiously optimistic about the approach that we're taking out here. But it's still spreading. We're still getting more cases here in Santa Cruz. We've had 2 deaths here in the city already. I think we're doing better than a lot of other parts in the country. I don't know what the measures have been like in Ohio, but from what I gather, you guys didn't shelter nearly as soon as we did. But you also didn't have outbreaks quite as soon as we did either. But we've been taking it very seriously out here, and I think it's for good reason. We're lining up in the grocery store. Like, we have a line to get into the grocery store because they're only letting a few people in at a time. Yeah. And it's a real pain in the ass, but let me tell you, it's better than getting this disease. We're managing, we're keeping inside. Although I did hear today that they're talking about reopening some of the state parks and beaches here. I'm really worried about that because there have been, even though our measures have been pretty strict, we've had a lot of people who have not been taking it seriously, and I'm worried that the fact that they're starting to loosen things already with state parks and beaches could potentially cause a second wave to hit, especially the beaches, because the weather's getting nice out here. People have been cooped up and they're getting stir crazy. I'm really worried that if they open the beaches up, people are going to flock to it like crazy, and it's just going to spread like wildfire. But we'll see.
Yeah. What's interesting about, I was looking at like this number here. Yeah. You see how there's 3 columns. There's the column where total number of people who got it, right. Yep. Total number of people who died. Yep. But if you look at the recovered column, right. There's 0. So right. They're not saying anybody's really recovered from it. That center column. So, that's what kind of sucks is when are you going to say that somebody's recovered?
Well, they don't have the antibody test rolled out right now. And until they have that test, you're not going to really be able to say anybody's recovered.
Yeah, and honestly, frankly, until we have widespread, reliable testing, we really should not be rolling back on these isolating measures because we're only opening ourselves up to greater risk if we do that before we know who's sick and who isn't.
I agree.
It's my hope that our Governor DeWine is actually just sort of playing along with the federal government and Trump, who's trying to force states to open up, and he's throwing out a date, but I have a feeling that it's not going to be okay, there's no more lockdown. It's going to be, we're going to unlock the state. No, we're not. We're going to just say that so that we keep getting money and federal assistance and everything. But in reality, it's going to be a very minimal unlocking of certain specific things.
Yeah,
Sleepy, why did you have to ask another coronavirus-related question?
Yeah, thanks, Sleepy.
I gotta say, I think that what we should do is, best case scenario, I can tell you that for sure we're going to be doing this game again a week from now.
Yep.
I don't think there's any chance we're not going to be doing a podcast via Zoom 1 week from today. So I think that the best thing we can hope to do is somehow try to find some joy in between now and then. Try to find something that you're into and you can have fun doing and doesn't fuck with anybody else's life. And the best possible thing we can do is embrace our fucking motorcycles and be safe. Don't do some stupid shit that's going to put you in the fucking hospital. There you go. Exactly. Right.
Learn your fucking Japanese. There you go.
Yeah, he's learning Japanese. Yeah, that's going to come in handy, by the way. Pay special attention to the car shit because we're going to need that. Yeah, but that's it, man. Everybody be sweet to each other and have a goddamn time. Ride fast and take chances. Play us out of here, John. Press the button wherever the button is. Who's got the fucking button?
Thank you, Tom, for showing up today.
Thanks, Tom. Cheers, man.